Good morning out there. You are watching The Morning Show here on Arise News. I'm Ruben Abati.
I'm Vumbai Mutiniri Ekpeyong.
And I'm Rufai saying we've got a great show lineup for you for the next 3 hours. Sit back, relax, let's kickstart your day. Morning Show begins right now.
Opposition politics can only be successful when political parties opposed to the government of the day can find a common ground, put all selfish desires aside, and reach an agreement that suits the main goal for which it is assembled. In Nigeria, with the election still 2 years away, we have witnessed the talks of coalitions from major opposition parties gain momentum. Major names said to be involved in these talks are the 2023 presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Atiku Abubakar, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, LP, in the 2023 election, Peter Obi, and former Kaduna State Government Nasir El-Rufai, who is a former friend turned foe to President Bola Tinubu. However, with Atiku's People's Democratic Party and Obi's Labour Party mired in internal political crisis, the prospects of unity in the opposition have remained uncertain. Joining us later on this show to discuss the various crises within the opposition parties and how this diminishes their chances against the ruling APC in the 2027 elections is Dr. Sam Amadi, a Rice News analyst.
Also, we shall be engaging Chief Mene Brown, the Ogwa Olushon of Warri Kingdom, alongside Chief Ayirimi Emami, an Ishekiri leader and APC chieftain. They will be having their right of reply to assertions made last week on the morning show by the immediate past Deputy Governor of Delta State, Kingsley Otuaro, saying that due to the Supreme Court judgment, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to discard the old ward arrangement in Warri Federal Constituency and conduct a fresh delineation based on population.
Let's catch up on news making headlines across the globe. Adefemi Akintoye will bring us updates on the foreign scene and world brief. We'll review today's newspaper headlines across the globe. Rod Sojuru will give us an update on global business outlook. Aaron Akirjala will be taking us through spotting activities across the globe. While Audrey will fill us in on what's trending around the world. It's going to be all that and our feel-good inspiring story. It's going to be all that and a whole lot more today on The Morning Show.
Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. It's now time to take a look at news stories making headlines around the globe. We begin at home with politics as peace and reconciliation may now be far from the crisis-ridden opposition, People's Democratic Party, PDP, that's following a fresh twist in the lingering internal battle for the soul of the party, as the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, says that he is withdrawing from all existing peace arrangements within the party. Hours after Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, pulled out of a peace agreement he had with the People's Democratic Party governors and declared he was ready for a fight to the finish, National Secretary of PDP Samuel Anyanwu announced a postponement of the 99th National Executive Committee NEC meeting of the party slated for May 27.
In a strongly worded statement released earlier today, Wike accused party stakeholders, particularly Governor Seyi Makinde of Oyo State and Governor Peter Mbah of Enugu, of serial betrayal and alleged a calculated disruption of reconciliation efforts. Wike says a gentleman's agreement reached at the Abuja residence of former President of the Senate, Bukola Saraki, was already crudely violated even before the party's reconciliation committee, led by Saraki, could begin its work. He lamented that despite the Supreme Court's judgment affirming Samuel Anyanwu as the party's national secretary, Governor Makinde had allegedly connived with his Enugu state counterpart to organize a Southeast leaders meeting to blackmail the party with a threat to pull out of the party if the party upheld the decision of the Apex Court. Vowing to fight to the finish, the minister went further to accuse the duo of instigating a rebellion within the party's leadership, pointing to a letter issued by the Deputy National Secretary summoning a National Executive Committee meeting, an act that Wike describes as illegal and contrary to agreements already reached. He also referenced a failed Congress in Jos Plateau State on Saturday, which was allegedly aborted after INEC refused to attend due to improper documentation, another fallout of what he termed deliberate sabotage by party's insiders.
In other news, political leaders from the northern region met in Abuja seeking a united front against President Bola Tinubu's 2027 ambition. They expressed dissatisfaction with the administration of President Bola Tinubu over alleged lopsidedness in his appointments, insecurity, and poor infrastructure in the region. At the meeting were former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, 2023 Labour Party presidential candidate, Mr. Peter Obi, former Secretary to the federal government, Babachir Lawal, 2023 Vice Presidential candidate, Dati Baba Ahmed, and former federal lawmakers, amongst others. Tunji Olanipekum was there.
The National Political Consultative Group for the Northern Zone, and here political leaders from the North are deliberating on the state of the nation. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar and presidential candidate of the Labour Party in 2023, Peter Obi, are present. Though journalists are not allowed in, we understand top on the agenda is the rising insecurity in the North and poor state of infrastructure in the region. 5 committees were set up at the end of the meeting to further advance the cause of the region.
The North is trying to advance political unity. The North is trying to advance political inclusion. That whosoever is the president of Nigeria is the president of everybody. You're not the president for the North, you're not president for the South, you're not president for Igbo or for Yoruba or for Hausa or for Fulani, you're the president of every Nigerian citizen. That's what North want to advance, and that's what we believe in. Unlike today, with Tinubu's administration, he has proven to be anti-North, anti-poor man. And look at the budget and go through the budget lines of the Ministry of Works, for example. You put up a project of 13 trillion naira in one place. What did you put in the entire North? Next to nothing. How do you run a country like that? And how do you want people to be happy? You see, the fact that someone lives in suspicion, someone lives in fear, it is enough to stop him from going to bed. Suspicion is enough. And look at the insecurity in the North today. The resurgence of insecurity. It is so bad. So the North is trying to bring up a coalition that can work for Nigeria. So when you think that you have decimated all other political parties and killed them, you think you are costing to victory. Nigerians are no longer the docile people that they used to be. So as it happened in 2015, history will repeat itself.
Consultations, mobilization, conflict resolution are parts of the decision reached at the end of the meeting. Tunji Olanipekum, Arise News.
Oh, consultations happening all around the country, discussions, negotiations. Rufai, what's your take on all these developments 2 years to an election?
Okay, 2 years to an election. Everybody wants it. 2027 is the price. Consultations happening. Yesterday, this is the newspaper led with a story, about Peter Obi, saying he was going to run in the Labour Party. And a lot of people started getting the feelers that, maybe he might not want to be part of the coalition. But this meeting held yesterday, and I think it has calmed some nerves. There are a lot of top hitters in the meeting, like you've seen. Agbenshi is there. In fact, they talk about General Guzo also being in support of all of this rallying. There was a little skirmish in the meeting anyway by the Jigawa delegation as regards who is going to be the leader, but it was sorted out when the son of former Jigawa Governor Lamido, He was finally put as one of the leaders of the Chicago delegation. And initially the meeting, they said the meeting was to discuss, what is happening in the northern security and all of that. But it was way more than that. It was this first bold move in their country. I'm happy about it because you see, I've always said I condemn a one-party state. We should never have any talk about a one-party state. But what I will also tell these people all coming together is who is ready to sacrifice for the other? Because increasingly I'm seeing a lot of people that, yes, they say they have one interest, which is to unseat President Tinubu in 2027, but all of them want to be president. I don't know, maybe when they get to that part, then they'll be able to navigate it. Maybe I was too hasty when I took, the assumptions of the This Day newspaper on Sunday and say, oh, I said this might not fall through. But I remember on my tweet, Mr. Marasoni, your very good friend, did say, don't be too hasty, Rufai. And he was correct, because probably he knew more than me that this meeting was coming up. So we'll see how these consultations go. And we'll see where they arrive at. Like you all say, 24 hours is a long time in politics. But it's a very good first step. At least in the news reportage this week, it wasn't about one defection or the other. It was from the opposition coalition also saying something. So it's good for balancing. And please, I just want to say this in extension. I know this is not part of it. Dear Governor Eno, you cannot suppress the rights of journalists. Whatever decision was made in that state against those Channels TV journalists, and I'm really mentioning it because I'm standing up in camaraderie, that because a report was released by them and they are barred from the press center, we totally condemn. We are all patriots at this point in time for our fellow journalists and our colleagues. Real quickly, as regards Seyi Makinde and Wike. These were the people that were together with what Daniel Bola would call the Jackson 5, the G5. These people came together to decimate the PDP and thwarted basically the chance of Atiku Abubakar because they didn't favor them. So Wike is now saying that all the agreements he put forward, Seyi Makinde is reneging against them. For instance, they should not bring forward Okoye again. It should be Anyanwu that should lead the way. He said Seyi Makinde went to the back and scuttled that. They also talked about taking away all the cases the PDP governors filed against state of emergency from courts and all the agreements they did have. So today they are loggerheads. They are so at loggerheads that, in fact, if you check the page of the newspaper today, Wike took a page stating his position and all of that. Let's see how it's going to pan out in their fights. But it's interesting to watch their fights because these were the same people that were doing G5 and they were singing Kumbaya, my Lord, Kumbaya, and they were both all excited when they thwarted the chance of their own presidential candidates. Let's see how the Bukola Saraki-led team will be able to bring peace back to the PDP because the larger context is restoring peace to the PDP.
Okay, what is the main issue? Nyesom Wike, Minister Wike, saying that he has pulled out of all peace efforts within the PDP because there was a meeting at the guest house of Senator Bukola Saraki, who is the leader of the Way Forward Committee of the PDP. And at that meeting, certain agreements were reached. And the agreements were reached included the fact that the National Legal Advisor of the party will withdraw cases in court involving the Rivers State matter, that Samuel Anyanwu, who is his own favored candidate, for position of National Secretary, will be recognized as the National Secretary, and that there will be no talk about any Deputy Secretary being recognized as the acting National Secretary of the party. But at that meeting, certain agreements were reached. And on the basis of that, there was some reconciliation. His argument is that, look, the leaders of the party have now gone back on that agreement in Senator Bukola Saraki's guest house. To which that the governor of Bauchi State, Bala Mohammed, the governor of Oyo State, colluding with the governor of Enugu State, Peter Mba, have now decided to go behind and renege on those agreements. And that on the basis of that, He is standing on those agreements. He is standing on the ruling of the Supreme Court, even if the Supreme Court did not dictate who should be the national secretary of the PDP. The Supreme Court simply said the party should go and put its own house in order. And the party is divided. On one hand, you have people who are saying that they are insisting on Samuel Anyanwu. On the other hand, you have the National Working Committee saying, look, it's the Deputy Secretary who is acting as National Secretary. You have the Southeast Caucus of the People's Democratic Party saying that the person they want there is Ude Okoye. Otherwise, it will amount to an act of affront. BOT Chairman Adolphus Wabara says so. Other leading members of that party, including Chief Achike Udemwa, whom we interviewed on this program, also insisted that the Southeast cannot be taken for granted. Now, so what is clear is that there is conflict within the People's Democratic Party. There is dissension within the People's Democratic Party. Nobody even knows who the National Secretary is at this particular moment. And that was why when Senator Gabriel Suswam came onto this program, he said, the PDP is in an intensive care unit in a hospital. In other words, that the party is very sick. And he said, on the occasion that we interviewed him, that the May 27 NEC meeting of the party will make or mar the PDP. It looks like the PDP is already either compromised or is already sabotaged, and that the prediction of Senator Gabriel Suswam may come true. It may not die as a political party, as acting national chairman, Ambassador Damagum insists, but will he be able to make any impact in 2027? So you have a party, a political party, at a crossroads because of the failure of his own internal democracy. However, I think Wike's role in the matter is also something that should be underscored. Nyesom Wike says he has been in the party since the very beginning and that he has invested so much. But he projects himself as if he's the be-all and the all-in-all of the party. The same party under which auspices he was made chairman of Obio-Akpo local government, under which auspices he became special assistant to the governor, became chief of staff to the governor, became commissioner, became minister of state education, served for 2 terms as governor. I think it's most unfortunate that he's a man who says he wants to destroy the PDP because he says he will fight to the finish. But he's very clever. He's hiding under agreements. The other time he said there was a southern projection agreement. This time around he says something was reached in Saraki's guest house. And Anyanwu, who is his lackey, has now issued a statement postponing tomorrow's scheduled meeting of the party. And he says he disagrees with a deputy secretary acting as acting national secretary. And then the other party, the National Working Committee, is insisting that they do not recognize the PDP. So look, PDP is out of the equation, the way it is looking. A divided party like that, I don't see how they are going to reorganize within 2 years to challenge the same APC that they say they want out of power. Lessons not learned, leadership not provided, a lot of display of incompetence in the People's Democratic Party. Quickly, to the issue of the northern leaders. Now they had a meeting, the National Political Consultative Group, North, which was attended by former minister, former governor Rotimi Amechi, and attended by Waziri Adamawa Atiku Abubakar, attended by Mr. Peter Obi, and other leaders of that coalition. Now, the impression is given that the North is monolithic. The North is not monolithic. People are saying northern leaders have resolved to remove Tinubu. Look, in that same North, there are leaders from the Northwest who say they are supporting Tinubu. There are leaders from the North Central, who are saying they are supporting Tinubu. So it's not as if the North is monolithic. So when the newspapers, the media report that Northern leaders forge united front, there is no such thing as a united front in the North. Indeed, at that meeting yesterday, there was a quarrel by the Jigawa delegation over who should speak on behalf of the Jigawa delegation. Babachi Ilawal had recommended someone else. Yes, his delegation, refused. They turned the place into a chaotic environment. The security agencies, DSS, police, and private guards had to protect the VIPs in the place. Peace was only restored when it was agreed that Sule Lamido, the son of Alhaji Sule Lamido, should speak on behalf of the Jigawa delegation. So the North is not monolithic. And there's also the issue. There's also a tendency within that coalition that is arguing that the next candidate from the North, from the coalition, should come from the South. But that Southern candidate should sign a one-term agreement. So you see they're determined in saying they want to push APC and Tinubu out of power. Okay? Now, that Tinubu is not going to just sit down and allow them to push him out of power. And which Southern candidate is going to agree to do only one term? If you put a Southern candidate there, he too will say he will do one term. But in any case, they have not even agreed on the platform. There is the Liyelemoke-led committee that is talking about whether they should remain in PDP or not. There is the Rotimi Amechi committee that is recommending Alliance for Democracy and all of that. So, it's a very complex proposition, and nobody should arrive at any, jerky, emotional conclusions. But it makes good headlines for the media to say Northern leaders have united against APC. That's not the reality. It's far more complex.
It does make for exciting political commentary, doesn't it? So, well, it is without a doubt that yesterday's outing at the National Consultative Forum was a symbolic one, in that in all of the discussions that we've been seeing leading up to this, we hadn't seen so much of a united front. Some of the statements were pulling in different directions, but it was good to see an outing where all came together and were able to at least reach a degree of consensus on a number of things as we await for further developments. So again, this had followed the point that Rufai had made, which is that there was some assumptions that Peter Obi was pulling out. And again, this was just to show that it's still very early in the day and that this group recognizes the strength that they have in numbers, especially when you look at the context that it was Atiku Abubakar and Peter Obi's tickets that had split the majority vote in the last election. So this combination coming together, although we don't know what the dynamic would be, but it's important for us to continue to see this united front. And hopefully, in light of this, we can see more of a coordinated opposition being able to steer the ship. On the backdrop of this, there's also statements from the Africa Democratic Congress, the ADC, which had initially been put forward by some media reports as the vehicle of choice. However, already before any ink has dried or any deal has been struck, we hear that there's already internal strife within the ADC as well, as they are also competing for positions. Some members of the ADC are saying that, no, we will not relinquish our positions in this party for any new members, while some other groups within the same party are saying, well, let more prominent people come. If this is what it's going to take for our party to grow, it's a great opportunity. So we're still a long way away from a real deal, but we're seeing the body language, we are seeing the movement. Now, as to the significance and importance of the North, it can't be overstated. However, we have to remember that the dynamic needs to be balanced out because we're also seeing an increased shift towards APC in the South, and the Southeast. So all of these things coming to play, there's still several permutations that are going to play out. So, we wouldn't rush into any conclusive decisions at the moment, but we're here as spectators to continue to watch as it all unravels. Well, It's time now for a short break on the morning show. When we return, we'll have Adefemi Akintoye join us for the World Brief and to review top stories in today's newspapers. Please stay with us.
True strength. What defines it? The brilliance of a player? Or when a team comes together to win? A solo beat? Or the rhythm of many? The flair of one dancer? Or the art of a troupe? One distinct voice, or the beauty of the symphony. At FCMB Group, we build ecosystems, empower communities, and create the future. Because we believe it's not just one, but the power of the group that delivers the future we all desire. FCMB, the power of the group.
How far, Niger? Welcome to the Glow Cafe app. Come in. Because it's time for an upgrade. Your own personal Glow Cafe app open 24/7. Welcome to bigger, better, smarter. Welcome to total control of your data, your airtime. Mom, I'll call you back. How you buy? I'll send you data. How you share and how you recharge. Movies, gaming, music, all in one place. Welcome to more value. Download the upgraded Glow Cafe app and get more data. Get 100% recharge bonus and get a massive 100 gigabytes data bonus when you register. Want it all? Download all this into this.
Unlimited. Your journey to great rewards starts with the Save and Win Pally Promo Season 4. Take the first step by opening a new account or growing your existing balance by 10,000 Naira or more. Step 2, perform at least 5 transactions monthly. Step 3, stand a chance to win. From tricycles and motorcycles to cash prizes and a grand prize of 5 million Naira. To open an account, download the Union mobile app or visit www.unionbankng.com. Terms and conditions apply. Union Bank, your simpler, smarter bank.
What are we looking at?
Thank you guys for joining us on this unforgettable night.
Everything is fine.
Paw Patrol is on a roll.
It's Max Verstappen in the lead. The megastar is here.
Absolutely sensational.
Let's go!
What were you guys doing to us?
Get unbelievable entertainment that is unbelievably easy to own. Get and stay connected to DSTV.
Emeka, you come into my home and you see me and my family enjoying our golden morn, and you still proceed to talk about business.
Emma, it is very, very serious.
Yes, so there is serious news. Introducing the new Golden Morn 3-in-1 with milk already inside for your creamy, nutritious enjoyment. Get the new Golden Morn 3-in-1 for your family.
From Nestle.
Africa's natural capital, vast, abundant, and worth trillions, matters. Youth, arable land, minerals, biodiversity. Time to make it work for the continent's prosperity is now. Join us at the African Development Bank Group's 2025 annual meetings from May 26th to the 30th in Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire.
Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Joining us now for World Brief and a review of some of the headlines of today's newspapers from around the world is Adefemi Akinsanya. Good morning, Adefemi.
Good morning, Dr.
Good morning.
Ruben. Good morning,
Good morning,
Dimbai.
Adefemi.
Good morning, Rufai.
Morning, Fabi.
We all had a wonderful weekend.
Yeah. It's all right. It was good.
Just okay.
Hi, it was good. It was good.
I was just thinking, my weekend was fantastic. I saw the Arsenal ladies are champions of Europe once again.
Oh.
So huge congratulations to the Arsenal ladies. My mommy's in town.
Hey.
And last
Moi,
it's coming.
Yeah.
And last, we had a wonderful wedding yesterday. We went to celebrate with the families of the Abiru. Tukumbo, Abiru's daughter, married into a wonderful Ijebu-Ode family. So just so much wonder happening this weekend. So huge congratulations to the couple. But let me tell you what is happening around the world. Now, despite the US president talking up the chances of a peace deal for the war in Ukraine, Russia launched the biggest aerial bombardment of the war so far this weekend. Now, at least 12 people were killed, including children, and they were, of course, among the dead. Now, this is as Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky called on allies for more support. Now, just hours before Russia and Ukraine swapped hundreds more prisoners on Sunday, the third and last part of a major exchange that marks the only real tangible income from peace talks that have so far failed to produce a ceasefire. In a rare rebuke, really, US President Donald Trump has threatened Russia with more sanctions after a series of deadly strikes across Ukraine. And speaking of Putin directly, he did say, this is Trump saying, what the hell happened to him, referring to Putin, and referred to Putin as crazy. Now, the US president did appear aghast at the conduct of his Russian counterpart as the Kremlin seems to ebb further and further away from peace. Meanwhile, in Israel and in Gaza, strikes over the past 24 hours have killed at least 38 people in Gaza specifically. Now, health officials in the Palestinian Authority or territory say that this has brought the death toll there to more than 100 in less than 3 days. Israel has intensified its air campaign in Gaza. On Friday, a strike on Khan Yunus destroyed the home of doctors Ala and Hamdi al-Najjar, killing 9 of their 10 children. Now, the Israeli Defense Forces said on Saturday that it had targeted more than 100 sites across the territory over the weekend, despite agencies warning that the Palestinian population is plunging deeper into malnutrition and famine. And for nearly 3 months, Israel has blocked food, fuel, medicine, and all other supplies from entering Gaza, worsening a humanitarian crisis for 2.3 million Palestinians.
Very sad one, Fabi. Since the date of the ending of the ceasefire on the 18th of March, ask me how many people Israel has killed. Over 3,700 people. Since this war started on the 7th of October 2023, ask me how many people Israel has killed on that flank. Over 52,000. So if Israel ever makes the assumption and the allegation that, 1,200 Israelis were killed, but in return you killed 52,000 and you're still killing and you'll still kill more, you've decimated Gaza, you've destroyed the infrastructure so much that Trump now has funny ideas in his head, calling the place, real estate on the Riviera, Gaza Riviera real estate. That's how much you've pummeled the land. And what are you doing at this point in time? The United Nations is talking tough. You're not allowing those aid trucks come in as much as possible. Just a fraction, just a smidgen, that's where you're allowed to come in. The 107 trucks that you've allowed to come in since Thursday that the United Nations confirmed is nowhere to be found because that's so small based on the problem on ground. Yeah. You're saying you're going to decimate Gaza so much that people will voluntarily evacuate themselves from there. And Israel is doing this. The whole world is looking. Nobody can tame. Britain will just react and say, we're going to stop trade with Israel. Trade has less than $10 billion. Other parts of the world are just going to talk for a bit and everybody moves on. Mm-hmm. Like it doesn't concern anybody and people are being killed and we say we have a sincere world to live in. Concerning the killing of 9 people, the IDF denied it. They said they said children were not there around there. But we can see the killings by the Gaza, health authorities saying people were actually killed. Moving on to Trump, I'm not surprised, but we told him here that Putin would deceive you. Putin is not crazy, with due respect. I never knew that there was going to be a day I was going to defend Putin against Trump. Putin is smart, but you are the crazy one. You have all the intelligence and dossier to make you know that Putin is cunning, he's a former KGB official, but you still go ahead thinking you're going to do a peace deal. So when he starts to buy time and batter everybody in aerial bombardment, you're saying to Putin that, oh, he's going to regret it if he wants to take every part of Ukraine. The first deal Putin put forward to take over Donbass wasn't a sizable part of Ukraine. But you were so concerned, President Trump, about your minerals deal. So once you cited, that was all of it.
Exactly.
So you see, we don't have a fair world at all. Most of the talks have stalled. Putin is having a free reign. You are not giving them equipment any longer. You stalled a lot of equipment sale to them and equipment grants to them. How do you want them to fight fairly? Are you the leader of the free world? And now you're saying he's crazy? Trump just bluffs. You remember when he called Kim Jong-un Rocket Man? Didn't he go back and did kumbaya and hug and I love him so much with Kim Jong-un?
You know what's unfortunate in all of this is that, excuse me, Kristi Noem, who is the Homeland Security Secretary, is currently in Israel.
Yes.
She is there for Jerusalem Day, which is, festivities for the unification between East Jerusalem and West Jerusalem. They've released some information regarding her meeting. She's had a meeting with Benjamin Netanyahu, and apparently in that meeting, she has passed on the message that the Trump administration appreciates how Netanyahu is handling this war. Amidst other things. So it's very tragic, the type of world we live in, because often what we see is hypocrisy. And, excuse me, sorry, I hate to bring race into this, but when you look at the Palestinians, they are darker in color than Ukrainians, for example, or Russians, for example. So you see how we treat a conflict that has lighter-skinned people with kid gloves. And then when it comes to Israel, it's full-on support. Nobody is condemning both sides. It's almost handled as if there's nothing going on. She's there right now while these terrible images are circulating around the world. Now for Russia and Ukraine. So just to balance the story, there was an attack on Vladimir Putin's helicopter by Ukrainian drones. I believe it was on Friday. Over 200 drones. They said they were able to repel the attack, but they're treating that attack as an attempted assassination. Now, given that, and I know on that same press briefing, when they were asking Donald Trump questions, one of the reporters did ask, do you know about the attack on Vladimir Putin? And then Donald Trump said, oh, maybe that's why he's launched this massive attack. But he said he hadn't been briefed on it. Mm-hmm. But what you see is a full-scale war with both sides doing excessively too much to either side. I believe in the past week, Ukraine has launched over 800 kamikaze drones to Russia. Now Russia is attacking civilian sites. It's just an unnecessary bloodbath. And neither side are listening to anybody. Again, like I said, the diplomatic community are playing ostrich with the issue. We'll stop trade or we'll stop this and so forth. But we're not seeing anybody saying we're going to increase sanctions on Russia. We're going to stop giving weapons to Ukraine. Equal treatment of both sides to try and, temper down the situation. What we see is just all these very paper-thin statements on the whole issue, and it's very unfortunate.
Okay, the two subjects are related. Yeah. What you see on both sides is the hypocrisy and the insincerity of the international community, and by extension, the failure of diplomacy. Now, take Ukraine and Russia.
Yes.
Meetings have been held in the Middle East.
Mm-hmm.
Meetings have been held in Turkey. There was a meeting in London where Kiev was offered a 7-plan. Principle among which Russia was saying that it will hold on to the territories of Ukraine that it currently controls, particularly eastern Ukraine, and generally 20% of Ukrainian territory, and it's not expected to yield that. Now, Ukraine says Article 2 of its constitution does not allow Ukraine to cede territory. So there's a stalemate between both countries. After that last meeting in London and the meeting with the Pope by Zelensky, then we had the phone calls, right?
Yes.
2 hours of conversation last week between President Trump and Putin. On that same day, Zelensky spoke to President Trump twice. Before the phone call to Putin, and then after the phone call to Putin, which was joined by leaders of Germany, France, and also the EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen. And what was the main issue here? The United States was saying sentiments that have also been re-echoed by Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, that the US will walk away from the negotiations if both countries cannot agree between themselves. And Trump was recommending that the two parties should come together. So now, in spite of all of this, Zelensky said he was not convinced that Putin wants peace. So Zelensky, in a way, has been vindicated that, Russia does not want peace. Russia, Putin himself, Trump himself is now saying, doesn't just want that 20% that is controlling, but that it wants the whole of Ukraine. In other words, America is losing interest in the matter because it has secured its control over the rare materials in Ukraine. 50-50 arrangement that they claim that they have. China having refused to allow the export of raw materials to the United States since December 2024. So this is the whole framework of hypocrisy. Trump can say, I think it's crazy. Every time he opens his mouth, he creates problems. He doesn't really show commitment. In the same manner, Israel and Hamas. America has always made it clear that whatever Israel does is convenient for it. After all, what was the basis of the problem with South Africa? It was because South Africa went to International Court of Justice to sue against Israel. And Israel continues to commit so many atrocities that Britain, France, and other countries in Europe started accusing it of violating international law. This is again the confirmation of how routinely Israel violates international law. Most of the victims, out of the 24 that died in this drone attack, were children, were women. Out of the 54,000 persons that have been killed since the outbreak of hostilities, about 24,000 out of that are women and children, persons that are not directly involved in the conflict. That in itself, under the law of armed conflict, is a violation of international law. But who is going to call Netanyahu to order? Within Israel itself, there are issues. The right wing wants the complete wipeout of Gaza. So Netanyahu says is under pressure.
Yes.
Two, the families who saw stages, 54 of them are still in Kiev. It's believed that most of them are still alive. They are putting Netanyahu under pressure. So Netanyahu has to balance the politics between the far right, the centrists, and also the Democrats who are completely opposed to this violation of international law. I think that the international community should be more sincere in insisting that no country, no leader, whether it is Putin or it is Netanyahu, can be above international law. And the United States should stop pretending. And Putin should just stop talking for talking's sake while protecting, these despots who are violating the international order and rewriting the rules of global complementarity.
Well, thank you all for your submissions. Let's move on to newspaper headlines across Nigeria. Let's start with the front page of This Day. Now, This Day does report on this escalating drama within the People's Democratic Party just hours after Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, pulled out of a peace agreement he had with the PDP, the People's Democratic Party's governors. He declared that he was, and he also declared that he was ready for a fight to the finish. We are seeing that National Secretary of the PDP, Samuel Ayamu, has announced a postponement of the 99th NEC, that's the National Executive Committee meeting, which was scheduled to hold on the 27th of May. Similarly, the New Telegraph also leads with Wike, but this time labeling the governor of Oyo State, Seyi Makinde, as the architect of the crisis within the People's Democratic Party. Now, you remember that the two gentlemen used to be very close friends. They have always been referred to as allies, essentially, but now you're seeing Wike accusing Makinde of conniving with other parties' leaders to sabotage agreements reached to resolve the PDP crisis. Meanwhile, on the other side of the political spectrum, we have the Vanguard and it's reporting on the so-called anti-Tinubu coalition. You have Atiku Abubakar, former vice president, and also Peter Obi, both of them reportedly shopping for another platform. Now to the Daily Independent, which leads with the news that there have been actually 516 wildlife strikes in 20 Nigerian airports over the past 5 years, just to give a bit more scope to that issue that we were talking a few weeks ago. And The Guardian leads with the report that essentially this 7 trillion naira subsidy saving has failed to really translate into real reprieve when we're addressing this hunger issue within the country. And then finally, just very quickly, if we look at the Daily Sun, there is some good news for Enugu State. Representatives in the state have scored Governor Peter Mba's midterm performance as high.
All right.
Very quickly.
Okay, one sentence.
I mean, what else can I say? Let the fight begin between the members of the Jackson 5, like Nanawala will call them. I'm not sure if he's going to call them that these days. Wike and Makinde, they can fight all like here.
Very quickly, I think The Guardian, gosh, I'm so sorry, I'm having one of those mornings. I think The Guardian has been a little bit harsh with regards to the subnationals and subsidies, because in all fairness, they had a lot of debt, and many of them had done significantly in being able to balance out some of their debt. So yes, they failed to cushion on hardship and hunger. However, they've been able to address a lot of the legacy debt that they had in those subnationals.
Thank you.
Okay, very quickly, I go back to the Wike story.
Okay.
Wike says he has sacrificed so much for the PDP. Well, and I say that's pretentious. I say that it is misleading. He has benefited even more from the party. I listed the positions that he had occupied under the platform of the party. The big problem with the People's Democratic Party is the lack of internal democracy within the party. How did that party get to a point where one individual will hijack it and also threaten to destroy it if he does not have his way, my way or the highway? The problem is because the PDP has not been able to follow his own constitution and instill discipline. So we're talking about dictatorship, authoritarianism. PDP is facing that same problem. The authoritarianism of one man that they cannot call to order. That is what the PDP should look at. As for all these talks about defeating the APC, I think they've lost it. They've dropped the ball.
Adefemfem, thank you so much. Glad we got to speak on newspapers as well today. We'll take a short break now. When we return, we'll have Rotis Odiri to give us updates on global business activities. Do stay with us.
Maliciously good, maliciously good. Whether it's your chips or sandwich, yam fries or jollof rice, salad, pasta or pasta, they make it taste so nice. Now you all get the bamba, you all get the taste. Now I can tell you any day that everything
By maliciously good.
It's time for the main event. This is incredible. He has written it, and the dream lives on. I cannot believe it. They are in such a menacing mood here. Hear the place in all its magnificence.
Stay connected to DSTV this April and May and get all the football finals you want.
It's not technology that moves a nation, it's the people who dare to harness it. For over 25 years, TD Africa has been building the digital backbone of Africa, getting the right technology into the right hands. Today, we are the trusted distribution partner for global tech giants Microsoft, Starlink, IBM, Cisco, Dell, Huawei, HP, Zynox, EcoFlow, Samsung, Checkpoint, and more. We deliver genuine technology solutions to businesses across 47 African countries, from robust infrastructure to smart devices to cloud solutions that scale. We are here to make the digital economy work. Partner with TD Africa. Visit tdafrica.com or email inquiries at tdafrica.com. TD Africa, empowering you.
Now this is tomato mix. Even after adding water, you can still taste the tomato flavor.
With Tasty Tom tomato mix, you can cook any of your customers' favorite meals.
No color changing like traffic lights.
Tasty Tom will surely give you value for money because Tasty Tom tomato mix is thick. A little is enough to get your desired quantity of stew and soup. No unfair deal.
Tasty Tom makes me so happy. The taste is always on point.
And it doesn't color your meat or your chicken.
Because of Tasty Tom tomato mix, the taste of my food never changes. So my customers keep coming.
I don't compromise on the quality of my food, so I buy quality from the onset. Use Tasty Tom enriched tomato mix.
Tasty Tom, for tasty meals good for you. Available in convenient sachets.
Does your toothpaste give you complete fresh protection? New Close-Up Toothpaste Complete Fresh Protection takes care of your 5 important oral care needs. It gives you strong teeth, prevents tooth holes, cleans deeply, fights bacteria, and gives you fresh breath. Complete fresh protection from Close-Up.
At a time when payments were a puzzle, there arose a need for a game changer, one that could pioneer e-payment solutions, enabling transactions between buyers and sellers, like making payments online or with just phone number. So, if you're still wondering how it all started, look no further.
Unified Payments, unifying businesses for people.
Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Now for global business updates, Rotus Udiri joins us. Good morning, Rotus.
Good morning, Dr. Abasi. Good morning, Vimbai, Rufai, all our viewers out there. Far as what to watch this week, a lot of sovereign activity. There's a public holiday in the U.S. for Memorial Day, which is very good for Hollywood. So we're getting updated box office figures for the new Mission Impossible film, which is supposed to be the last one tomorrow. So Sinners doing pretty well. So Memorial Day holiday in the US, it's a bank holiday in the UK. So the markets are closed in both of those regions. Tuesday, we're going to get April vehicle registration, new vehicle registrations, which is an indication of how many new cars are being purchased. Everybody will be looking to see how Tesla is performing in the UK, as you know. In Europe, pretty weak there. Wednesday, April industrial and manufacturing output from India. Thursday, we get US jobless claims. And then Friday, the PCE, personal consumption expenditure, core PCE index, which is what the Fed likes to use to gauge inflation in the US. So getting that from April on Friday. Asian markets, oil is not really, well, oil kind of picked up though, still in the mid-60s, based on Trump's comments on Putin, calling him crazy, but didn't say there were going to be any sanctions. Also, the reversal between Friday and Sunday of the 50% tariffs on the EU. But Asian markets were mixed in trading this morning. Shanghai Composite. Oh, okay. So we have it. Oh, great. Okay, so here's what Trump's comments on Putin, lashing out at him.
Yeah, I'll give you an update. I'm not happy with what Putin's doing. He's killing a lot of people, and I don't know what the hell happened to Putin. I've known him a long time, always gotten along with him, but he's sending rockets into cities and killing people, and I don't like it at all, okay? We're in the middle of talking, and he's shooting rockets into Kiev and other cities. I don't like it at all.
President, what do you want to do about that?
I'm surprised. I'm very surprised. We'll see what we're going to do. What am I going to tell you? You're the fake news, aren't you? You're totally fake. All right, any other questions? I don't like what Putin is doing, not even a little bit. He's killing people. And something happened to this guy, and I don't like it.
The fake news. I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to do. As I said, Asian markets. So again, look, if you're an oil trader, does that mean there'll be sanctions on Russia? There are already sanctions. I mean, it's just back and forth. Asian markets mix. Shanghai, China, Hong Kong down. Japan, Korea, India, and Australia up, at least at the time we're checking trading early this morning. So Trump on Friday said that there was going to be a 50% tariff on imports from the EU coming into the US because he was frustrated with how slow things were progressing. But the EU Commission, as the commission that runs the trade mechanisms for the 27-nation bloc, things will move slowly because you have to make sure that all members of the EU are on board with what's going on. So he tweeted on Truth on Friday that there'll be a 50% tariff effective June the 1st. Sunday, and then by the way, markets overnight trading or aftermarket trading, they fell. You had oil falling, and then now on Sunday, then moved that deadline to July 9th, saying that he had spoken with Ursula. Yes, that's what I said, July 9th. Ursula von der Leyen, I said he had spoken to her over the phone and that they had moved, it was going to be moved now to July the 9th. So, that's where we are with the latest on the EU, but we did get, market reactions to that. In the Senate, the, big, beautiful bill that barely squeaked by in the House of Representatives by literally one vote. I mean, some Republicans voted present. And essentially, that's the only reason why this thing actually made it to the Senate. Some conservative Republicans have said they will alter this bill because it does not address the deficits, in the rising deficits in the US. So there is potentially going to be some headwinds here for passage of this bill because Republican conservatives, at least a couple of them, according to sources, are saying that the bill has to be moved around because there are not enough spending cuts. The dollar is down, bond yields are up, which is really weird. If yields are rising, it makes the dollar US securities more attractive, but investors are just really, really worried. So that's what you're seeing there. Masayosi's son, very interesting comments picked up by the Financial Times. This is, of course, the founder of SoftBank, saying that the US and Japan could possibly, well, he floated the idea of them collaborating on a joint sovereign wealth fund. I don't know who appointed Masayosi's son as finance minister of Japan. He's a private sector person. So I don't know where he thinks he can speak on behalf of the sovereign nation of Japan and suggest a sovereign wealth fund. The issue, of course, how would they co-manage the fund? The US and Japan, they both run deficits. You need to run a surplus to be able to have a sovereign wealth fund. They already have very deep capital markets in the US and in Japan. So if you're an investor, I mean, would you want to put money? SoftBank already invested lots in terms of its portfolio. So, he just floated the idea. Financial Times picked it up. I think that's all we've got for the US. Going to Nigeria now. Festus Keyamo, the aviation minister, clarified on some comments on the national carrier for Nigeria. So if you look at the bottom there, the Vanguard carried this story saying national carrier off the table, FG to demolish old Lagos Airport terminals, right? He then says the correct story should be that the federal government will not invest a dime in establishing a national carrier, but is always open to proposals from private or public entities, both in and out of the country, that truly benefit Nigeria and Nigerians in establishing a national carrier. However, before that happens, we are concentrating on developing policies to ensure the growth and survival of our local operators. So anyone that's coming in to suggest a national carrier, that's on you. The government is just going to review it, not spending any money on that. Finally, Nairametrics hosted their first ever Capital Market Awards on Friday. It's amazing. This thing was incredibly well attended by the Minister of Trade and Investment, the Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission, the Chair of the NGX, Taiwo Oyedele, the Head of the Fiscal Committee on Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and the Tax Reform, the Ekiti State Finance Minister, Lagos State Commissioner for Energy, and Niger State's Commissioner for Digital Economy. This Nairametrics started out as a blog by Ugo Dre Obichukwu. There he is. he just liked to blog about markets over 10 years ago. He called it Ugometrics and then changed it into Nairametrics when he got a bigger following. And now 10 years later, Nairametrics is one of the most widely read financial publications in Nigeria. And I mean, it was just pretty incredible stuff. And we get pretty cynical about success stories in Nigeria, but it's just a reminder that if you just stick to your passion, it will be rewarded. So they handed out a number of awards and talked about the capital markets. That's our updates for today.
And congratulations to, Ugo. Very good one there, because while he was doing that, he was still in paid employment.
Yeah,
but this was his passion.
Passion on the side passion, yeah.
It built Nairametrics as a side hustle to a point where you could actually say, okay, let me leave paid employment and now go to Nairametrics.
Yeah.
And to full-on companies, one of the biggest business dailies, we can say that word.
And it's online. It's not even
and it's totally online.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it doesn't need to be published because that's the way
Things
the
are
world
going.
is today. As regards Trump, goodness me, so brainwave, he just knows that Putin is
killing people.
Is killing people and is manipulative. The question is the effect that's going to have on the market at a time where, the oil prices are very gingerly, and especially for oil-producing nations. It's a very gingerly outlook for us at this point in time. So we need to be able to tread with caution, because we need a lot of that revenue. We also need to turn out more oil. The swords are looking and saying, okay, what's this market going to be? It's the uncertainty Trump brings that I can't understand. The fact that in one breath you woke up one morning and say, oh, tariff again. Now, Ursula von der Leyen calls you back. You said, oh, no tariff, delayed till 7. Maybe after this, maybe they will talk and you'll give a 90-day window again. Goodness me, I've already lost track of 90-day windows.
Coming up in July, I think.
He first announced this. The first tariff wave was in, I think, 9th of April. 9th of July now, and one after that was a 20% tariff. Now it's 50% tariff is announced again, 9th of July. And we keep going around in circles. The market cannot even cope.
And he wants the big, beautiful bill to pass, to be signed by July 4th.
The big, beautiful bill is another word for big, beautiful scam, which we all know. You're taking Medicare away from people. You're doing a lot of nefarious things, and you're putting your allies there to push it. In fact, it's a shame that for a house that you have a majority, you just took one vote to be able to pass your big, beautiful scam.
Rotus, I'm surprised he didn't take the part of the press briefing where he was asked about the fact that Scott Bessent said they don't need to bring textile manufacturing back to the United States. And he reiterated, because you like to play the video about, oh, Americans don't want to make Nikes, they want to wear them. And he said he has no interest in bringing textiles back into the United States. He doesn't want to manufacture T-shirts and socks and the likes.
So
he's interested in chips, in computers, in tanks, in military equipment, in AI, the big stuff. No, I'm not here to defend. I'm just trying to tell you that, I thought that was a significant clip to have taken from that particular press briefing because it's something that's overemphasized. Now,
are they not making chips and tanks in America already?
I'm not here to defend. I'm just here to say that's a part of the.
He says things that
now, very quickly on airlines, national carriers.
In Nigeria.
I think it's just fantastic that we're consistent with the fact that let's let private sector handle this, because I was looking at the airlines, national carriers in Africa. I think Ethiopian Airlines is the only profitable national carrier, maybe Rwanda Air as well. The rest are struggling to make a profit. So I think it's great that we're just going to keep our federal budget away from that endeavor and let those who have the appetite for the risk carry on with it.
Okay, last month, President Trump announced a 20% tariff on all all EU goods coming into the United States. His main argument is that the EU has an unfair trade surplus against the United States. From the EU, goods worth about $600 billion annually get into the United States. On the other side, it's about $370 billion. So there's disproportionate. Later, he halved it to about 10% and gave a deadline of July 8 for negotiations. And now he says he's impatient, and he threatened on Friday that he will increase the tariff to 50% if the European Union doesn't act very quickly. So Ursula von der Leyen has spoken to him, and he says, okay, I have the prerogative, to decide what will happen. I think it's just a negotiating tactics for him saying, okay, I have extended it in July 9, but you guys hurry up. He's just negotiating. The same way he has done with the Japanese, who have been negotiating back and forth with the United States. And Trump, his mind is so mercurial. Yeah, tomorrow he can change his mind again. But what I find more instructive is the statement by the trade chief of the EU, who says that we are going to negotiate based on our own interests and not on the basis of trust, but as people who also have interest in the matter. Asia market mixed, but Friday the market on Wall Street went down as a result of all these projections. What to watch? Nvidia earnings will come up on Wednesday, first quarter earnings. On Friday, you have personal consumption expenditure coming up. Finally, Trump supports Nippon Steel to acquire shares in US Steel. And he says it will create 70,000 jobs. US Steel went up 21.2%. Nippon Steel went up 7.1%. Those are the issues. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll take a short break now. And when we return, we'll be talking to Dr. Sam Amadi, Arise News analyst. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
In a land where every dreamer seeks security.
Hello? Najinka. I'm Gamaiki.
One name stands strong. With POW Pensions, your wealth is preserved, securing a future for your family. With POW Pensions, every contribution grows your future. Secure your tomorrow by starting today.
POW Pensions, your pal for life.
Naira, shillings, China, yen, interest rate are up again. Commodities, bonds and shares. Seize the bulls and mingle with the beers. Derivatives and currencies. Help me understand it, please. Finance gurus, the thieves and the tricks. Portfolio is getting thick. Come on, trade. Let your money move with the wisdom. Trade. Let the markets take you there. Stay up to date with business and markets every weekday on the Rights Exchange.
Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Opposition heavyweights are ramping up their strategy to present a competitive candidate as the governing party, the All Progressives Congress, last week endorsed President Bola Tinubu's candidacy for a second term in office come 2027. Major names said to be involved in these talks are the 2023 presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Waziri Adamawa Atiku Abubakar, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 election, Peter Obi, and former Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai, who is a former friend turned now a foe, an enemy, well, that's a strong word, to President Bola Tinubu. However, with Atiku's People's Democratic Party and Obi's Labour Party mired in internal political crisis, the prospects of unity in the opposition have remained uncertain. In the PDP, Wike is disrupting the party with the choice of a national secretary, which is between Anyanwu and Ude Okoye. A concern raised by Governor Moeno of Akwa Ibom, saying that any candidate whose form is signed by an unrecognized secretary will be sacked in court. The situation in the Labour Party is not different, with Abure, Nenadi, and Apapa factions. Joining us on this show to discuss the various crises within the opposition parties and how this diminishes their chances against the ruling APC in the 2027 elections is Dr. Sam Amadi, Arise News analyst. Good morning, Dr. Amadi, and thank you for joining us on the morning show. Well, Dr. Amadi,
Thank you, Dr. Ruben.
Yeah, thank you. Good to see you. A lot of toing and froing, jostling and hustling in the opposition parties. Either it's the coalition, or it's the Labour Party, or it's the People's Democratic Party, where Wike says he will fight to the finish, or it's even any of the other parties, ADC, Social Democratic Party. So much confusion around the place. And yet, each of these political parties, collectively, individually, or in form of a coalition, we seem to be saying that they will displace the APC. They will displace President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. What do you think of their chances? Particularly now that President Tinubu says, well, these guys have no life jackets. Their boats are sinking, and they are welcome to dissolve into the APC. And there's this talk about the possibility of one party dominating. What do you think?
Thank you. Thank you for having me. First, let me say this. If you assess by the internal coherence, and seeming, focus of the opposition, then one could say that President Tinubu is correct, that essentially, of all the parties, the APC is the most stable, of course, the party in power with the capacity to dispense reward and create win-win for many people. One of the problems of the APC, of the opposition, is that Nigerians' pecuniary focused, oriented politics, the politics of self-interest, requires large apple and the possibility of multiplication of the proceeds of politics. And so when you are a president or when you are the party in power, you have room to manage conflict. So if you want to remove your chairman of your party, you could send him ambassador to US or high commissioner to London, or you could send him or her chairman of MPA. So that capacity to really create win-win in multiple ways enable the ruling party oftentimes to ride over storms. The opposition parties themselves don't have that, both fiscal and opportunistic ambit or bandwidth to shape things. So first, they are stuck. Either they are principled, determined, and understand the pursuit of power as a matter of either ideology or existential crisis or even long-term political interest and not short-term. What happened in 2015, there's a shift here. In 2015, most of those outside power were united by a desire to get PDP out at all costs and scope a long-term reward system for themselves. So President Tinubu, for example, who was one of the leaders, if not the main leader, withdrew back, allowed 8 years to come back. But what is afflicting the opposition party is short-termism, number one. Two, they are more diverse in their political calculations and expression than we had with the opposition in 2015. And since 2015, ethnic configuration has changed. The ethnic politics, thanks to President Buhari, and the ethnic urgency of different group sections wanting to come to power is now much more pressing and urgent and divisive. So you now have, in the mix, an anxiety on, zoning, rotation, who gets power quick. And so that also has kind of made negotiation, a lot more difficult for them. But nevertheless, I think that what gives hope for the opposition is that the government is struggling in many ways. It's part of what it thinks about its policies. If you use the historic assessment that was given to us by Delineation many years ago, 1962, which is what's happened to poverty, inequality, unemployment, those basic indicators show that the government is not able to, kind of seal the deal with the Nigerian people. That's huge frustration. And the opposition, imagines that they can weaponize that frustration to take Tinubu out of government. But on the basis of their own organizing and their coherence, if you're an analyst, you will not give the score to them. But if you're looking at the fact that the government, APC government, seem to be scoring own goals in many ways, then we are set for perhaps a competitive election in 2027. So I agree that the opposition party is not doing well, and the prospect of a coalition, which everybody wants, or at least all those in the opposition, looks a little bit, not able to happen, or somewhat difficult to get through because of the polarizing nature of the actors themselves. It looks like everybody must be president in these 4 years.
All right, Dr. Amadi, I'm really glad that you made reference to 2015, because some people might argue that the definitive thing in 2015 was the fact that the incumbent was ready to concede, which is something that, we may not see anytime soon. My question is, what should the coalition be focusing on? Should it be galvanizing the population of the North? Should it be electoral reform? Should it be, where do you think the real defining factor lies for having a real chance at defeating an incumbent, for coming against federal might in 2027?
This is a beautiful question. I mean, look, my argument has been that the opposition is focusing a lot on elite politics and less on two areas I think they should focus on. One is electoral reform. Look, electoral reform is like in Nigerian, we are not jaded. People, but look at the point. If you look at 2023, at least two of the leading political opposition parties claim to have won the election. The Labour Party claimed that they won, that the beavers failed them, that they were rigged out. PDP claimed the same thing. But since 2023, they have done nothing to push for real reform. Now look at three areas they've done nothing. INEC was opaque. INEC's operational process is very, very opaque, not transparent, not participatory. For example, if we look at what happens elsewhere, even county level in the US, the county election board does an open hearing and votes. Every time, whatever choice decision they make about elections, decisions made what we call in administrative law, decisions on record, voted intervenors. The parties send their lawyers to make an intervention. Those just like a court, quasi-judicial, they make a hearing and make a determination. So, but here, in 2019, I've been arguing that the first crisis of the election in Nigeria is that the administrative procedure for decision-making is not controlled in a manner that INEC is restrained. For example, the issues around beavers, how do you deploy those things? Issues around electoral transmission. Those are not issues you leave for INEC post-election. They begin to quarrel. You have to be sure that INEC decisions are made openly with consultation. So parties are not engaging them. They're not doing anything. That's basically they're not doing elections. Now look at the issue around the judiciary. We see that part of the crisis is that the courts themselves have either misconceived sometimes the electoral jurisprudence, or have actually aided errant INEC officials to actually rig election by not inquiring or by using technical burden of proof and front-loading and allowing the victims of possible electoral manipulation to carry the burden of even inventing evidence where INEC itself refuses to turn in the subpoenaed evidence itself, as we saw in the case of Kogi and several areas. Of course, there have been minority Supreme Court decisions that says, this is not good, this is not fair. How are the courts trying to push a legal opinion that tries to change and open the electoral jurisprudence in a way that the purpose of electoral jurisprudence, which is to allow the votes of the people to count, what have they done towards that area? So they have not done enough to first create a possibility that if an upset happens at the poll, that upset will be declared by INEC and the court will validate it. The second area they have not been doing well is that they have been doing a lot of conspiratorial politics. So the big guys meet at rooms and talk, but they're not really engaging the voters they want to turn against Tinubu. They simply feel that the government has failed, but that's not true. In the last couple of weeks, this APC government has turned in much more remarkable political communication. They are doing better, in my view, in managing political communication. They are coming from a difficulty. I mean, the problem is that an incumbent runs on their record. And as long as things are bad, it doesn't matter the presumptions or the policy intentions. The outcome ruins the party for you. And so every incumbent in an election is in difficulty to try to win because every bad thing is your cause. So Tinubu is in a difficulty because the impact of policy, at least in this time frame, is negative. But they're doing better work communicating their position. They're doing better work framing. So they did, apart from Mr. P2B, actually, who has, not by way of strategic communication, but by way of engagement, meeting people. The opposition is not really, is taken for granted that there's a vote constituency, they will just go and cash in. All we need to do is to put Obi, Atiku, Amechi, Erufai in a room and they agree and forced ADC or SDP, bingo, we are home. That is fallacy. They are not engaging in mobilizing the people and proposing what people can ask. Okay, you said Tinubu did floating the naira. How about you? You said the same thing. What would be different? When people ask that question, they struggle because they're not thinking around how do we frame an alternative and how do we even communicate it. So the notion that they're not angry will not cut the deal.
Okay, I mean, you're spot on. And in fact, you're giving these guys free strategy, especially the opposition guys. And that has always been my grouse. In fact, it looks as though they don't even have a grasp of the issues. Today, they have not even iterated a roadmap, frequently asked questions and solution patterns to various challenges in the economy. We don't see that. We don't see a lot of rigor and thinking. It's just reactionary. It's just, Tinubu did this today, he didn't do it well. What's your thinking process? Have you been proactive? Number one, what can we do about these electoral reforms? Because leading up to the last elections, we had Mr. Mike Egini come here and he encouraged a lot of people, to go out there. We saw the lapses, some of those things that we even need to turn to proper law in the Electoral Act. Can we pinpoint this area? I know there's a guy on socials now, Randy Peter, doing an advocacy of some sort. But how about a collective effort and forcing the National Assembly that is so concerned about other things to come on board as regards electoral reforms because they are needed now? Because 2027 without electoral reforms will be like, 2019 elections on steroids. That's where we're going again. Secondly, all the gains we had in 2023 elections has been lost as we speak today. Contentions around the Edo elections, a couple of other elections, even the use of beavers and all of that. How can we remedy all of that? And thirdly, the coalition. I see a lot of egos. How do they manage this ego play they're having? And how do they look out for the possibilities of moles in their middle? Because there are definitely going to be a lot of moles as we wrap up.
Well, I think you've just, those 3 points are very critical. In fact, you don't illustrate that we are in a worse spot than we were in 2023. Look at what happened in the tribunal. I mean, how can anybody, INEC had declared election on a fake result sheet, accreditations were not done, verification of the numbers supposed to be put on prescribed form. And the court says, you know what, you brought the beavers here, you didn't operate it, we can't dump in us. I mean, those kind of things. That's what they should be doing. They're not really working hard on that. And the issue around alliance and ego, I think the problem is that in 2015, the contrast again, there was a sense in which you had politicians who probably understood who should go first. It was clear that Warri had the votes of at least a constituency, always had more than 9 million in each election that he failed. So being bankable votes. And the leaders were perhaps clearer in their mind that this is where to go. Here, I think there's a problem of people perhaps exaggerating their importance, their right to govern. And so the ego crisis, the ego crisis is going to be a problem. More, again, here, and this is clear, Jonathan was not that intense and didn't play the politics of, the type that Tinubu is a master of, the dark politics. The PDP took it, we are going to get everything done last minute. Again, he had a more independent INEC, where, in fact, their body language was even against the ruling government. So it was a difficult proposition. And the APC was able to, but here you have a government that understands the dark arts of politics. And in fact, perhaps proficient and not restrained in using them. They've learned from their success and they've learned from the PDP failure. So it's likely they're going to have more intrusion into their camp, betrayals. They're going to, plant in people. But what I see is that the level of seriousness that the APC had as opposition and their capacity to extend to civil society, engage all societies, dribble, manipulate, even engage the media, we're not doing it now. Because there's no person who is leading this as first, let's get this government out. Every person is leading it as, let me have opportunity, either it is for now or 2031, whatever it is. So the difference is that you are not, this is not from an organizational strategic perspective. The coalition is weak on strategy, weak on organization, much more diverse in terms of their expectation and interests. And then you've not had an ideation. What does it represent? And then leadership has to, there be somebody who is driving this, and that somebody should be magnanimous enough and trustworthy that everybody says, okay, fine, this is the guy. Maybe somebody who's not even going to be a candidate. So they need to tighten in terms of, creating a structural integrity and coherence. And then seeing that they're dealing with an enemy, quote unquote, who is more subversive and dangerous than PDP was in 2020. Dangerous in the terms that they know how to disrupt things and they are willing to disrupt. And then again, the stakes are higher now. In 2019, the body language of President Jonathan is, my ambition is not what anybody's did. And you can see a sense of, he was prepared to drop the ball. But here, not just Tinubu, most of the guys are not willing because a lot is at stake than in 2015.
Okay, Dr. Amadi, just before we wrap up now, earlier on, you talked about electoral reforms, but the major issue now is one. There are many aspects to electoral reforms. Constitutional Rights Project, PLAC, Policy and Law Advocacy Center, and other civil society groups. They've looked at various dimensions, including YAGA Africa. But the one on the table right now is this compulsory voting bill that has passed second reading in the House of Representatives. Do you think people should be, forced to vote? Otherwise, they go to 6 months imprisonment or pay a fine of 100,000 naira. Your thoughts, quickly, briefly. Oh, we can't hear you here in Lagos. Hello? Dr. Amadi, we can't hear you in Lagos. Hello?
Okay, can I hear you?
We are not hearing you.
I think we have to go.
Okay. Okay, looks like your mic is off. We'll take a short break now. And when we return, we'll be talking to Chief Mene Brown, the Ogua Oluson of Warri Kingdom, alongside Chief Ayirimi Emame, an Ishekiri leader and APC chieftain. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Whatever you need, whatever you love.
What makes every order special?
Try to show, you know they give you so much.
The fact that it births new beginnings. Inspiring us to express every shade of who we are.
Whatever you need.
It's the joy each order brings. We know this, and that's why for whatever life's needs you may have, Jumia is here for you. Download the Jumia app now. Jumia, joy delivered.
What will banking look like in the future? For over a century, we've been growing to meet the needs of an ever-changing world, delivering unique solutions to help our customers reach increasingly bigger dreams. Innovating to create an exciting new world of convenience and freedom, where what you can achieve is only limited by your imagination. Opening up new, more inclusive channels for commerce. Empowering a new generation to reach beyond their dreams and grow into the giants they were always meant to be. We're helping to create a future where the possibilities are infinite, the opportunities borderless, and where the world looks up to Africa. Let's awaken the giant in you. You first. First Bank.
Niger, it's time to rise to victory because season 10 is here.
That you did not come and greet. I'm coming for the crown.
Nigerian Idol needs to bang. You're actually my idol. Say yes from me. Sounds good.
I'm here for a revenge.
I'm speechless. 10 seasons of unforgettable talent.
That's the best performance I've had today.
10 seasons of breathtaking performances. And this year, we celebrate the journey like never before.
I'm actually speechless.
I love you.
You're a superstar.
This is more than a competition. It's a celebration of music, passion, and dreams. It's your voice and your victory. Don't miss the biggest season yet. Nigerian Idol Season 10.
Sponsored by Biggie for every moment.
Guy, with the rising cost of things, we need to plan our next move.
Guy, I agree with you. I mean, with the money we make, we should not be struggling with our finances now.
Maybe you both need better banking options.
What do you know about better banking options?
I recently moved my salary account to Polaris Bank, and since then, it's been a smooth ride for me. They bought over my existing loan and gave me better interest rates and repayment terms.
Are you serious?
Yes, as a Polaris salary account holder, I can get personal term loan, auto loan, mortgage, 50% salary advance, credit card, and more without going to the bank.
Really?
I've got a personal term loan already. See, here's my credit card too.
How do I make the move?
Simple. Open a Polaris salary account on Vault. Use salary account as your referral code.
My guy, I am moving my salary account now.
Get personal term loan and more with your Polaris salary account. Vault is available on Google Play Store and Apple App Store.
Salary earners.
Every vibration on my phone opens the door to something different. As an award-winning actress, it's a chance to share ideas and stories that resonate. Stories that reflect my journey, passion, and authentic self.
So, to deliver excellence, I go all out just for that perfect balance. Thankfully, Cosmo does it for me. The Cosmo range of skin, hair, and body care products caters to my everyday needs. With its nourishing ingredients and gentle formulations, Cosmo not only restores my natural radiance, it refreshes me for whatever comes next. Cosmo, for the love of beauty. Marketed and distributed by GVS Cosmetics.
Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Now, last week here on the morning show, the former deputy governor of Delta State, Kingsley Otuaro, called for truth, justice, and fair electoral delineation as the only pathway to lasting peace in Warri federal constituency, blaming historical ethnic dominance struggles and institutional failures for the persistent tension despite a Supreme Court ruling. Otuaro said the Supreme Court had already delivered a definitive judgment ordering the Independent National Electoral Commission to discard the old ward arrangement in Warri federal constituency and conduct a fresh delineation based on population. However, he lamented that the decision was not implemented, fueling tensions among the Ijo, Urobo, and Ishekiri ethnic groups. The former deputy governor further explained that the Nigerian Constitution, sections 49, 72, and 75, demand that electoral ward delineation be based on population for fair democratic representation. According to him, the existing arrangement in Warri is a flagrant abuse of this principle. On the broader question of how to achieve sustainable peace in Warri, Otuaro concluded that structural changes may be necessary. Well, joining us on the show for a right of reply to the former deputy governor's take on the Warri delineation crisis in Delta State is Chief Mene Brown, the Ogwa Oluson of Warri Kingdom, alongside Chief Ayirimi Imami, an Ishekiri leader and APC chieftain. Says, good morning and welcome to the program.
Good morning and thank you for having us again.
Thank you,
Chief. A number of issues on the table. First, I would like Chief Ayiri Mami.
A leader, not a chief.
Who?
You rightly introduced him as a leader, yes, but not a chief.
Oh, Ayiri Mami is not a chief.
That's
okay,
right.
Leader Imami. To respond to some of the details put on the table by Kingsley Otuaro. But I would like you are a chief, definitely, by your regalia, to respond to those two issues at the heart of this matter. One, the Ishekiris are claiming that they are owners of the land in Warri Southwest, Warri South, Warri North, as determined in a number of cases. Idudun and Okumagba, that was between Okere people and families, two major families in Okere Urubo. There was the case, Agbasa Urubo case, which was a matter between Ishekiri land trustees and then, some other groups. And then, of course, you have the Ometa versus the Ishekiri also, which was between Agbasa Urubo. That case was between Agbasa Urubo and the Ishekiris, declaring that Ishekiris own the land. The question is, who owns the land? Because this latest word delineation is based on a Supreme Court ruling, which is the latest ruling in time.
Yes.
Number two issue that I would like you to respond to is this issue about word delineation.
Mm-hmm.
And, the Ishekiris are claiming that INEC was working to a predetermined answer in the delineation.
Exactly.
And that is unfair to the Ishekiris. That where does that leave Ishekiris in terms of, the situation pre-1914? So those are historical and legal issues that I would like you to respond to. But as to Leader Imami, well, I'm sure you watched the interview with former Deputy Governor Otuaro. What's your reaction to some of the points he made about saying that it's the Ishekiris that are proving difficult in this matter? Okay, maybe we'll start with the historical and legal background.
Right, okay.
Yes, let's start with you.
Thank you very much. I'd like to give you a historical scenario that should give us a background on which to rest all of this, as well as the Supreme Court judgments that have been on it. Prior to 1894, when the war with Nana brought us under the purview of the British colonialists, we lived as a kingdom for centuries. And those around us knew where the boundaries were between us and them. Then, of course, in 1894, when the British brought us on to what they were stringing together to eventually become colonial Nigeria, we, as from 1914, when we then became a Nigerian state, the Nigerian state was subdivided into provinces. So you had Oyo province, Benin province, Warri province, and I emphasize that, Warri province. And then the province was subdivided into divisions. So you had the Abo division, you have the Western Ijaw division, you have the Eastern Ijaw division, and then you have Jekri Sobo division. Jekri being Ishekiri, Sobo being the Urhobos. But somewhere along the line, the Urhobos agitated that by being put in the same division as us, they were being dominated. And so the divisions were further split. So you now have Warri division as distinct from Western Urhobo division and Eastern Urhobo division. Now, Warri division, this division was therefore done to accommodate the ethnic nationality homelands. This was very, very central to such division. And it was known, therefore, that what we had as Warri division was our homeland. And this is what has been subdivided, fast forward now, into Warri North, Warri Southwest, and Warri South local government areas. This is our homeland. And historically in those days, because someone had said they were living together peacefully, yes, because those who came to us in those days, when you went to an area that didn't belong to you, you would give yourself, present yourself to whoever was the authority and state your intent, whether to be allowed to stay. And if you were allowed to stay, you were also given a place. It's designated by the owner of the place as to where you stay. And this was how the Robos came. This was how the Ijos came. And they recognized all of this, and they were playing peacefully. As a matter of fact, on an annual basis during festivals, they will undertake some chores in order to express their appreciation to us for being allowed to stay. And we gave them the liberty. So there was peace and harmony on that score. And then, of course, fast forward to the present day, where perhaps the oncoming generation refused to admit the truth or were not told, so they therefore claim that wherever they are belongs to them in a radical sense of the word, and therefore no longer wants to recognize the generosity of the people who have allowed them to come and stay. Now, let me read for you, I don't want to paraphrase it, something from the Supreme Court. This is the Supreme Court's records. The Supreme Court judgment of Judgment 67, 1991, and 327, 1972, reported in 1973, 11 Supreme Court 189 to 234. This is the law report. 3 issues were dealt with there. The legal ownership by the Shekiri communal land trustees. Number 2, the overlordship of Warri, of the Olu of Warri, and customary tenancy. And 3rd, the finality of the Shekiri title. Now let me say what they have said.
Which case is this? No.
No, I'll mention it now. The justices are Udo Udoma. Sorry, I have interruption here. Udo Udoma, Shoemimo, and Ibekwe. The ruling is this. In the 1973 ruling, the court made these findings. Number 1, as I said, the ownership of the Ishekiri Communal Land Trust. Here's what the court says. The court held that, quote, the legal estate and all rights of titular ownership in and over land in Warri Division, remember what the division is, formally vested in and exercisable by the Olu of Warri on behalf of the Shekiri community are now vested in and exercisable by the first claimants, that is the Shekiri communal land trustees, also on behalf of the Shekiri community. Number 2, on the overlordship of the Olu of Warri and customary tenancy. Having reviewed a series of earlier judgments, including Privy Council decisions, the court affirmed that all non-Ishekiri occupants within Warri Division, specifically villages collectively known as Agbasa, that is Igbudu, Ekurede, Ogunu, etc., holds their land only as customary tenant under the overlordship of the Olu of Warri, as the court put it.
Okay.
Thirdly, there can be no doubt that the question of who the owners of Agbasa has been finally pronounced upon. It has always belonged to the Shekiri people under the overlordship of the Olu of Warri. Any other person living in Igbudu or any part of Agbasa except an Ishekiri is a tenant. These are the
That should be Omota versus Chief Dore Numa.
That's right.
Omota versus
That's right.
Chief Dore
That's
Numa.
right. Finally, the finality of the Ishekiri title. By dismissing further appeals, including an earlier appeal to the Privy Council in Ometa versus Numa, 1926, 25, and so on, for its reference there, the Supreme Court commented that all lands in Warri Division are held for the benefit of the Ishekiri people.
Okay,
Chief.
So
you then
Chief
see...
Imami has been waiting.
Yes, if I may just round up this aspect of it.
Okay.
So
the delineation you will talk about later. Yeah.
What you then have in Warri North, Warri South, Warri Southwest, this is the Warri Division. That is our homeland.
Okay, Chief Imami.
Okay, Chief Leader, Elder Imami, please, let's come to you quickly for your own intervention.
Hello?
Yes, please go ahead if you can hear us from the studio.
Yes, let me introduce myself properly, not by Mene Brown, Ruben Abasi.
Good morning.
Abasi, good morning, Rufai.
Morning.
I greet all of you.
Yeah.
You can hear me very well?
Yes, clearly.
Yeah, my names are Chief Ayirimi Imami, the Ologbo Chair of Warri. Yeah, that's the title owner that was given to me by traditional Olu. So I don't want to join issues with Menembra. We are here for common interest. If not, I shouldn't be sitting with him on the national TV. We don't need to watch our dirty linen out there. Those are internal issues that will be resolved at home. While I'm here, I should just go straight to the point. Kingsley Otuaro, who was the former deputy governor, came on air last week Friday to tell some lies about the delineation of Warri federal constituency. But I'm here to put the record straight to everybody, and that is me. I don't take no nonsense. I go straight for the truth and I stand by the truth. Kingsley Otuaro sworn to an oath of office. He will not allow his personal interest to override the interests of the people. And I've called the Inspector General of Police to ensure that Kingsley Otuaro is arrested. The reasons are not far. And I will not want to dull your time or waste your time. The Delta State government, I heard, I think one of his commissioner, one of his officers, saying some things about Warri. Since this crisis, the Delta State government have not come out to say anything. In terms of insecurity, he have not said anything. He's waiting, instead of him to try and avert the insecurity that will hit the state. His commissioner for information came on air, was saying things that were not right. So I honed that to the governor, that is the body language of the governor. That is me. Why I'm saying that I called for the arrest of Kingsley Otuaro, I just want to take you back just yesterday. Kingsley Otuaro was the former deputy governor of this state under Okowa. And that, in that position, it happens to be the chairman of anything that has to do with boundary. And we just had the issue of the PIA, the law that was passed by the National Assembly. The PIA, you know what I mean by the PIA. And in that law, the communities, and these ones will link to the delineation, because all the acts and the fraudulent acts about the delineation was carried out by Kingsley Otuaro, as alleged, Kingsley Otuaro and the Speaker of Delta State. after the Supreme Court judgment. None of us said they shouldn't delineate. Delineating the word does not mean you will come and give my thing to Kingsley Otuaro. That's not what the law says. Or we will not go back to Supreme Court. Let him interpret the delineation to us. But what I'm holding to Kingsley Otuaro, just yesterday, he was asked, according to his office, to supervise the activities of our boundaries. In national, the vice president is the chairman. So in every state is the deputy governor. And now, based on this act, communities facing the ocean, that is where the activities of the IOCs are operating, are working, are supposed to be beneficiaries of this whole operation as it affects the community on the PIA. Do you know what Kingsley did? And we are not aware as a chairman. When the boundary commission came, wanting to carry out their operation, Kingsley guided them not to see the Chekiri people. And he took them, listed all the Ijaw communities who are inward. That is a man that wants equity. And when you want equity, you must come with your clean hands. This man, as a deputy governor, was the one supervising that exercise. He made sure that the communities, and in the act says community that are 500 kilometers away from the buffer zone. And these communities that are 500 kilometers away are Chekiri's community. The only Ijaw community from here in Delta State is only Focado's community. The communities around Focados. After that, you will see Ugborodo. From Ugborodo, you will see Ogoye, Orere, and the rest. These are communities that is facing the ocean. What did Kingsley do? He excluded these communities. And he connived with the boundary commission, and they gazetted what's it called? Communities that do not fall within the 500 meter. Now, we now find out when NUPRC were trying to set up the host committee that will operate. The committee will now find out that Ugborodo, all this community that is in offshore around the buffer zone, we are not part of what's it called? We are not part of the gazette.
I understand the points that you have made.
With a lawyer.
Okay, Chief Emami, I understand, yes.
Using Sophia and
all right,
what's it called?
Chief Emami, we also have Chief Mene Brown here in studio who also needs to contribute. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So we'll be right back to you.
NUPRC wrote to Boundary Commission,
Chief Emami, can you hear me?
And going back, they now
Chief
engage
Emami,
the Chekiri people.
If you can hear me.
The Ijaw community, none of them were there. Only those communities from Focado.
Okay, sir.
The inner one.
Chief Emami, I think that your point has been made.
He added Oprasa, added all this.
Okay, we'll bring the conversation back into studio while we try to ensure that Chief Emami will be able to hear us. He clearly is not able to hear us in studio. But I mean, there's a different picture that he has painted, which is the orchestrated, intentional exclusion of communities to the benefit of individuals and other groups. He pointed out the Ijaw specifically. Do you feel that there was this very intentional, orchestrated and planned division of regions and people?
Indeed, this is what we have found very glaringly in their actions.
You also believe it's orchestrated by
indeed,
the
indeed,
governor?
Indeed, very much so, and I'll allude to it. Like he was saying, you have the coastal communities facing the ocean, and you have those that are far inland. The Ijaw ones are very far inland, but it sort of swapped the whole thing. That's the issue. Now, to want to see that whatever intent is in that action is also replicated in the delineation issue, and I'll bring it out to show. And that is, as I was saying, that we know that the voters register is INEC's database, the only database they use for their operations. And it is compiled by them. And these have gone past when there will only be names on the voters register. But this time around, the picture will be there, the biometrics will be there, so the individuals are recognized. And they are also in their respective communities. They are linked to them. So when we talk about delineation by population, it is not population in the global sense of the word. It is population as defined within the scope of the electoral register, because it's only for the purpose of voting, those to vote and those to be voted for, and so on and so forth. So instead of doing that, what they have done is to now remove some Ishekiri communities, even though on the voters register they appear. But what they have now done is to create some wards and units for the Ijos, as they have done for the Urhobos, that have no bearing whatsoever with what is there in the voters register.
Okay.
And this is what we are challenging.
Okay.
Into saying this wrong.
So when I come back, I'll come back to Mr. Emami. But every tribal group have presented some facts, in fact, facts on ground that they own the land. And I'll give you some instances. The Urhobo group, because I have read through most of documents while all of this started. The Urhobo group are saying, coming back to your claim, that there was a treaty with Agbasa and some other areas in 1893. You were talking about 1894. They also cite the Okumagba case as delivered by His Lordship Fatai Williams, that what they were saying when they were granting rights to the Okere people around there was the fact that all the historical books presented, had not shown that ascendancy from Ginewa, that all he passed in Ijala. And they said they have constantly signed treaty. I also have another document here by the Ijos now, where the Ijos were talking about, they wrote a letter to INEC around that, and they quoted a couple of court cases supporting their own position in the Ogbijo case, and they ruled in their favor. In fact, I also got a document that somebody said that was saying that the treaties signed with Agbasa and a couple of other areas were ratified in a court case around another land struggle in Ogun area. Help us unpack all of this. That's going to be my question for you. When we come to Chief Ayire Emami, my question to him will be, can you give us proof of these allegations against, former Deputy Governor Kingsley Otuaro? Tell us more about these allegations, and have you been able to read? You said you've written with your lawyers what has been done as regards, but let me come to you as regards the claim for all these other groups also.
Yes. Well, the purported treaty on account of Agbasa, the only treaty we know that covers that was the one signed by Doonuma on behalf of the Olu of Warri, because at that time, the interregnum was still on. We didn't have an Olu. Remember that from 1848 to 1936, those were the years during which we didn't have one. But we had our system well in place. We had whoever was acting as the head of the Shekiri people was acting instead of the Olu. This was well understood. It is on that basis that Doonuma signed the treaty, because the Agbasa land belonged to the Olu of Warri. I've just read to you now.
Yeah, that's the Doonuma case.
Yes.
They also had the likes of the
exactly.
Chief saying they wanted to be joined in 1826
exactly.
and all of that.
That's all of it.
That went up to the Privy Council in about 33-34, and they still lost at the Privy Council.
Exactly. So on what basis is the claim that they are making today?
But they said also of those treaties are also ratified. They said they cited that treaty in a recent court case around an area in Ogunu, and they accepted that treaty.
Did he point out that case to you? I'm sure he didn't. Because a lot of the time they would use as a blanket, Supreme Court judgment. Supreme Court judgment. What's the content of it? What does it relate to? They will not tell you. Now, with the case of Okumagba, Okumagba's case was not Ishekiri versus Urobo.
It was about Okere Warri.
It was not even about Okere as such. It was within. Exactly. Now, I have lived in Lagos for a number of years. And if I were to have enough financial resources and would buy a large tract of land and build an estate there, would that make it Ishekiri territory? Of course not. And the people, the Urobos that were in Okere were families who were accommodated, and the records are there. And they used to also perform chores on an annual basis to express their gratitude for being so allowed. Now,
so they also argue that fact was in its judgment. They also argue, the people also argue that Fatai Williams said that the judge in that case of 73 said they could not prove the fact that they actually gave tributaries or gifts in honor of the land to, these are some of the arguments they put forward.
Yes, but we know for a fact Daniel Okumagba's father used to pay that homage. That included Benjamin Okumagba's father. In fact, it was from the generation of Benjamin Okumagba. They are the ones who are now agitating and playing this false.
Okay. Thank you so much, Sha, for this. This conversation is continuing. I mean, we're able to hear the Ijo side when their case in Ogbijo and the Robo side. But are you Ermami, Chief? Are you Ermami? Where's your facts to the effect that all of this mago in your words was done by Kingsley Otuara? As we wrap up quickly, 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
If you look at my left hand, Rafai, look at my left hand, you will see the gazetted, document that was authenticated by Kingsley Otuara and the boundary adjustment. This is the one they did and we wrote against. You can look at it, you can see. Rafai, look at the one they asked the boundary commission by NSS office and NUPRC to go and carry fresh, identification of those community within 500 meters. Rafa, you can see the map. This is the map from NUPRC. And going back, we just finished that. I can remember vividly well the day Ondo State Governor was sworn in. That was the day we went back to the sea. Now, coming back with this, they could not include us. What you will see on this map now, from Focado's area, this latest one, you will see Godfrey Bene, Pondi Bene, because they want to make sure that they add enough community. Now, Rufai, the most interesting part, they instituted a case to ensure that NUPRC comply with that gazette that does not conform with the law and the act by Kingsley Otuara. He said they now brought some judges from Lagos. They renamed them. Instead of instituting the case in Lagos, and Lagos people will take it up with them, they came to Warri to institute the case in Warri Federal High Court. If the Chakri says that you are a judge from Lagos, nobody will care, so that they will get another judgment, like what they did in the Delineation, when nobody went to court with them. They were the only one that took INEC. I don't even think INEC responded. So we're even looking at that judgment. So on that note, they wrote to NUPRC, you must follow the law, the one that is being gazetted.
Okay.
And we now went to court Chief, so all these things, I'm saying, it's been documented. The NSS office, we are waiting now. Come out with the latest report. All this thing was authenticated by Kingsley Otwaru as the former deputy governor. It's very painful in the country where there is no truth. And Kingsley to be arrested. Such persons should not be parading himself. A man who worked against the interests of the general public to incite crisis at any time. There's going to be another table of election. Kingsley will want to ensure that there's crisis so that he can benefit. He has benefited once when there was crisis in 2003 as a commissioner. He's coming again. He benefited as deputy governor. He's coming this time so that they will say, leave the governorship for Gbaramatu people. That will not work.
Chief Emami, please, we'd like to get those documents so that we can also put them in public fair. But thank you so much for your time. Dr. Bati?
On 17th May, the Isekiri ethnic nationality petitioned the office of the National Security Advisor, raising questions on historical grounds and also about INEC delineation. Have you received any response from the National Security Advisor's office? Briefly, because we need to
other than to say that they will get back to us.
They said the office said they will get
back to us. That is studying what we have presented.
But you can assure us of peace in Warri.
Yes, indeed. The question of peace, I'm sure we are known to have the reputation of being peaceful, and which is why we have gone on being pushed and pushed and pushed. Now we have our back to the wall, I must say. But it's not to say that we will resort to violence, because we want for reason to be appealed to and for the reality of things to be seen and rightly responded to. That's what we do.
Absolutely. Chief Mene Brown, Chief Ayuri Emami, who is live with us from Warri, we thank you so much and we look forward to a peaceful and fair resolution to all issues withstanding. It's now time for a short break. When we return, Aaron Akere-Jola will be here with Global Sports Update. Do stay with us.
Taking your business into the future will require a bank that supports you. That's why you need a partner delivering solutions tailored to you and your customers. With First Online, you can enjoy a seamless banking experience and a continually evolving financial platform to reach for even bigger dreams. Let's take giant strides into the future together. You first, First Bank.
bá ní nǹkan ó ṣe tí ò bá ṣe kò sí tẹ́lẹ̀ kankan lè fi wá ṣe. bàbá lẹ́gùn bàbá wa ó jó tí ò jó mọ́ kò jó mọ́ náà.
Adéyìnfẹ́ sí wọn ló ṣe ṣe kí ni kógun já àwọn èèyàn mi sọdọ́gbọ́n fún mi ni.
The Fidelity Gets Alerts in Millions promo is back and better. This time around, we're giving out a whopping 159 million naira. 10 customers stand a chance to win 1 million naira in the monthly draw. That's not all. You can also win 2 million naira, 5 million naira, and 10 million in the grand draw. To qualify, open any Fidelity savings account with 5K or fund your existing Fidelity account with multiples of 5K to get more tickets in the draw. Then sign up to either our mobile app, *770#, or get any of our Fidelity debit cards. Remember, the more 5K you save and transact, the more tickets you get into the draw. This promo is open to new and existing customers and runs from now till August 20, 2025.
We are Fidelity. We keep our word.
Emeka, you come into my home and you see me and my family enjoying our golden morn, and you still proceed to talk about business.
Emma, it is very, very serious.
Yes, so there is serious news. Introducing the new Golden Morn 3-in-1 with milk already inside for your creamy, nutritious enjoyment. Get the new Golden Morn 3-in-1 for your family.
From Nestle.
At a time when payments were a puzzle, there arose a need for a game changer, one that could pioneer e-payment solutions, enabling transactions between buyers and sellers, like making payments online or with just phone number. So, if you're still wondering how it all started, look no further.
Unified Payments, unifying businesses for people.
Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Now for updates on sports stories from across the globe, is Aaron the Baron Akerejola still enjoying the goodness and the hospitality of Ogun State? How are you today?
Avibai, couldn't have said it any better, I must say. I'm enjoying really what Ogun State and Abeokuta, to be very precise, has got to offer. I was still here in Ogun State for Ogun 2024. Of course, we're live, we're neck deep in the heartbeat of Ogun 2024, live at the MKO Abiola Sports Complex. Just behind me, activities are beginning to swell up. It's getting into the business end of the competition, and it's getting heated, I must say. We'll be talking about the actions at the Sports Complex in just a moment. Before we get into today's activities, day 10, let's talk about how day 9 actually broke down. I must tell you, it's getting hot. And in volleyball, Team Kaduna actually brought in gold, and I must say kudos to them. Meanwhile, Oshun through to the semifinals of squash. And also, let's tell you that Omolola Tobiloba, a young lady, actually brought in gold in swimming. Then, not forgetting Ololade Adeyemi winning gold in darts. In the invited junior athletes, we've spoken about how they shone like a million stars. In football, for the women, they actually won Team Ogun 1-0 to qualify for the finals, but they were not so lucky in the men's category as Ogun defeated them to get to the finals, and Ogun will be playing Osun later on today. Let's also talk about handball. Team Sakwato beating Bauchi 45-18, setting up a blockbuster semi-finals that would include the likes of Ogun, Edo, Kogi, and not forgetting Sakwato in handball for the semi-finals later today. And in 400 meters, Nigeria's very prestigious runner from Cross River, Patience Okon George, qualified for the finals of the 400 meters. So that is how things played out, and a lot to look forward to today. As we look at the events for today, we've got Abula later on today. We've got deaf athletics, swimming, basketball, tennis, athletics, Sora athletics, swimming, and also not leaving out, still pressing it further, gymnastics, handball, golf, boxing, table tennis, kickboxing, wrestling, chess, football, all in the days of today. As we actually press it further, a lot is expected, but let's talk about how things played out with the curtain coming down on several leagues. One that actually tickled my fancy was the English Premier League. To be very precise, that particular game, which Chelsea beat Nottingham Forest 1-0, but that's not the high point of it. The fact that one man came in, Taiwo Awoniyi, to tell the fans thank you for all the love, all the support when he was going through his trying times. I'm happy to see him back on his feet. I'm happy to see him hale and healthy, and I'm happy to see that there is so much love and camaraderie in the world of sport, regardless of how he actually divides opinions time and time again. Kudos to that. Talking about camaraderie and coming together, Roland Garros, the French Open, the prestigious clay court tournament decided to honor the greatest to have ever strutted in clay, Rafa Nadal, and to make it more exciting, the biggest sports stars in tennis, Federer, Djokovic, and Murray were there to share that particular moment. It was all emotional for Rafa Nadal. He couldn't hold his tears at a certain point in time because it's just remarkable. A lot has happened in the world of sports. Time will not permit us to go through this, but these are some of the happenings, the biggest happenings in the world of sports. Live from Abeokuta here.
Okay, thank you very much, Aaron Akerejola. Time will not permit us to run commentary on some of the topics, but I see that since you arrived in Abeokuta, you've been looking fresher. You've added a little weight, just to show that you are in the gateway stage. Anyway, thank you very much indeed.
I must say,
you are not complaining.
They've been kind to us. They've been kind to us.
That's what I want to
I can't complain.
Thank you very much, Aaron. Now it's time now for a short break. When we return, Ojiokwe will be here with details on what's trending. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Thinking of banking in Africa? Think Zenith. In today's fast-moving, fast-changing world, you need a financial partner that understands your unique expectations. A bank with presence in major financial centers across the world, with the enabling platform to facilitate seamlessly, whenever, wherever, however. A bank with best-in-class financial solutions from a superb combination of technology and human touch for easy, fast, and secure banking that creates real value. Turning dreams into reality is now in your hands. People, technology, service. Zenith Bank, in your best interest.
Niger, it's time to rise to victory because season 10 is here.
That you did not come and greet. I'm coming for the crown.
Nigerian Idol needs to bang. You're actually my idol. And say yes from me. That was good.
I'm here for a revenge.
I'm speechless.
10 seasons of unforgettable talent.
That's the best performance I've had today.
10 seasons of breathtaking performances. And this year, we celebrate the journey like never before.
I'm actually speechless.
I love you.
You're a superstar.
This is more than a competition. It's a celebration of music, passion, and dreams. It's your voice and your victory. Don't miss the biggest season yet. Nigerian Idol Season 10.
Sponsored by Biggie for every moment.
Guy, with the rising cost of things, we need to plan our next move. Guy, I agree with you. I mean, with the money we make, we should not be struggling with our finances now.
Maybe you both need better banking options.
What do you know about better banking options?
I recently moved my salary account to Polaris Bank, and since then, it's been a smooth ride for me. They bought over my existing loan and gave me better interest rates and repayment terms.
Are you serious?
Yes, as a Polaris salary account holder, I can get personal term loan, auto loan, mortgage, 50% salary advance, credit card, and more without going to the bank.
Really?
I've got a personal term loan already. See, here's my credit card too.
How do I make the move?
Simple. Open a Polaris salary account on Vault. Use salary account as your referral code.
My guy, I am moving my salary account now.
Get personal term loan and more with your Polaris salary account. Vault is available on Google Play Store and Apple App Store.
Salary earners.
How far, Niger? Welcome to the Glow Cafe app. Come in. Because it's time for an upgrade. Your own personal Glow Cafe app open 24/7. Welcome to bigger, better, smarter. Welcome to total control of your data, your airtime. Mom, I'll call you back. How you buy? I'll send you data. How you share and how you recharge. Movies, gaming, music, all in one place. Welcome to more value. Download the upgraded Glow Cafe app and get more data. Get 100% recharge bonus and get a massive 100 gigabytes data bonus when you register. Want it all? Download all this into this.
Does your toothpaste give you complete fresh protection?
New Close-Up Toothpaste Complete Fresh Protection takes care of your 5 important oral care needs. It gives you strong teeth, prevents tooth holes, cleans deeply, fights bacteria, and gives you fresh breath. Complete fresh protection from Close-Up.
Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Joining us now is Oji Okwe with stories trending around the world. Hello, Oji.
Good morning, Dr. Bati. How was your weekend?
Great.
One bad day or no day? Good morning, our favorite Nigerian wife.
Morning, Jenny.
Love your outfit.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Good morning, Rufi on fire. How are you this morning? I love it. Well, all right. Well, good morning to you, viewers. Let's begin what's trending by taking reactions to the high-profile political coalition meeting that took place in Abuja over the weekend. The meeting, which was attended by former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, Labour Party's Peter Obi, and former Rivers State Governor Rotimi Amechi, was disrupted by delegates from Jigawa State. The incident occurred when former Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Babachir Lawal, announced a delegate to represent Jigawa, which was met with immediate resistance from the Jigawa delegates. They stormed the stage, rejecting the nominee and insisting on choosing their own representative. Now, this was a sight to watch. Grown men wearing babariga fighting. Well, the situation escalated there, prompting the Nigerian police to, de-escalate the tension. And at the end of the day, I believe Mustafa Lamido, some former Jigawa State Governor, Sule Lamido, and other delegates were chosen to represent the state. Let me take this reaction from Ibrahim, who wrote, "What happened today, that was yesterday, at the Continental Hotel in Abuja is just disgraceful. You can't call yourselves leaders and show up to a consultative meeting only to start fighting each other. The folks from Jigawa really need to sort themselves out. Sule Lamido should honestly know better." Another Twitter user wrote, "Shows how fragile alliances built on convenience really are. If Jigawa delegates can disrupt this easily, what hope is there for united leadership in 2027? Politics remains a circus, not a solution." Well, ahead of that meeting, Atiku Abubakar posted a video which has since gone viral on X with a caption, "His Excellency, Peter Obi and I arrived at the Abuja Continental Hotel for the National Political Consultative Group." Let's take a look. All right, the race has begun. So much talk about this coalition meeting that happened yesterday and the race to 2027. But before we discuss, during the meeting, Peter Obi emphasized the pivotal role the northern region of Nigeria can play in transforming the country, stating that the north represents Nigeria's greatest assets, highlighting its significant population and resources. He also criticized the poverty levels in the region, blaming the situation on a lack of investments, and urged the region to take on a leadership role in the nation's development. Let's go look.
The north can change Nigeria. The greatest assets of this country is in the north. This entire country produces less than 6 million tons of rice. That is less than 10% of what Bangladesh produces.
Okay. All right. I mean, Peter Obi was there live at that coalition meeting. You know that over the weekend there were, reports that Peter Obi may withdraw from the ongoing coalition discussions with other political parties. At the time, I believe it was this week, Obi had touched on the importance of maintaining the Labour Party's identity and principles during a recent meeting with the party's National Executive Committee. However, we had, I believe, Nana Kazure, who is the Director of Communications for the Obedient Movement, on Newsnight, who clarified that Obi is still active with the coalition. I mean, during that meeting, Obi had just made that comment saying that at this time, I am still, in the Labour Party. And we saw him right there having talks, discussion. And I actually really liked his statement again about taking advantage of the asset of the North. I mean, there's the population, there's the arable land, which is always talked about. And of course, the whole meeting really just shows that everyone is all talking about the race to 2027. What am I starting with? Okay,
very quickly. Let me start with, what looked like some disruption at that meeting of the National Political Consultative of Northern members of the coalition, where it's in the nature of political parties for people to disagree. And those disagreements because even within political parties, you have differences. I think somebody once said on this program that, look, even these coalition members, they are a collection of strange bedfellows, whether at the national level or at the local level. These are delegates from Jigawa State disagreeing over who should speak on their behalf. Former Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Baba Chilawa, had nominated someone else. See how they all trooped towards the podium. They said they didn't want that person, until Mustafa Lamido was chosen to speak on behalf of the people. Yes. And then, of course, there was calm. But what I think also is instructive is that, look, the security agents that were there, police, DSS, private gas, they immediately took charge to make sure that calm was restored. So the planners had also factored security into all of this. But this is to say that even within this coalition, all this collection of persons who say we will deal with Tinubu, we will remove APC from power, they also have issues among themselves.
Yes, that's
they are
what
not,
it shows.
It's not as if it's a united front. And I made a point earlier that there are also divisions within this coalition, whether it's in the north or the south, as to what platform to use, as to whether a new political party should be formed, and other details as to the way to go forward. Mr. Peter Obi, yes, was one of the prominent leaders on that occasion, and he spoke about the North being an asset to the country. And his point is about having to address the challenge of poverty in the North. He's having met a lot of all these Amajiri children, who are very brilliant, who could be a greater asset to Nigeria if they were given the opportunity to go to school and to lead. Yes. It's not as if these persons are not talented. They are just as talented as other children. But what you have in the North is the failure of the leadership. Northern leaders have been discussing education in the North since 1959. Yeah. And yet the population of children out of school continues to increase. And he talked about agriculture. And he was saying, look, given the arable land in the North, Nigeria can even do better than, those comparisons with Bangladesh and those other countries. I can't verify those facts. But his point is that, look, the North alone can feed Nigeria, and there are a lot of opportunities there. On that score, you, of course, cannot disagree with them. But in any case, as to whether you will leave the coalition or run on the platform of the Labour Party, well, it's entirely his decision.
Absolutely.
But it is instructive that, look, people are talking. People are talking. At the end of the day, whatever that coalition produces, it's not all the people who started that will be there. It will be on the basis of negotiations.
Yes.
And what, each person gets, what each person does not get. Dr. Sam Amadi was making a point about rentier politics in Nigerian democracy. People are always looking for what will benefit them.
Yes.
If their interests are not served, they will pull out. Finally, the same Mr. Peter Obi has been quoted as saying, after 2027, he will not run again.
Yes, he said that.
Because he's quoted as saying, where there should be age limit for running for
Which we've
office.
always advocated.
After 2027, Mr. Peter Obi will still be a young man.
Yes.
How old is he now? Yeah, he will be in his maybe.
During Newsnight, Nana Kozore said, please, she urged him on behalf of the obedience, so please
he will still
continue
be a young
to
man.
run.
Joe Biden.
Joe Biden, yes.
If it was not because of circumstances and public outcry, the man still wanted to be president at over 82.
Yes.
Donald Trump is almost 80.
Is he
so
the oldest?
It's not about age, physical, biological. It's about the age of the ideas of the man who wants to lead.
Right.
We want people who will lead Nigeria. You can be 70, you can be 80. Once you still have the energy, you have the knowledge, and you believe in the common good, not in your pockets and the pockets of your wife and children, but in the common good of all Nigerians. Age should not really be an issue.
All right. Well, Rufai, in another development, former Rivers State Governor and FCT Minister Nyesom Wike over the weekend announced his withdrawal from all agreements made with the People's Democratic Party. Wike made the announcement during an event in Port Harcourt, where he expressed his dissatisfaction with the current state of affairs in the PDP, claiming that certain party leaders have acted against the group's interests. He also criticized the governor of Oyo State, Seyi Makinde, labeling him as the architect of the problems within the party. I mean, we saw the story yesterday, Rufai, and for me, the first thing I thought about is, look at all these giants leaving their parties, joining the APC, and we're still seeing Wike struggling and making comments about the PDP. I mean, it just goes to show that there's some sort of disconnect somewhere, because I really don't understand how it is that he continues to, do these anti-party activities within the PDP and is not even bowing down or backing out of it. Meanwhile, Governor Umo Eno of Akwa Ibom State has reportedly barred Channels television crew from the government house press center in Uyo following the broadcast of a video in which the governor confirmed plans to defect from the People's Democratic Party to the All Progressives Congress, citing internal issues within the PDP. In the video, Umo Eno also asked his political appointees to join him or resign. Let's take a look before we come back for a discussion.
And for me, it's no more news that I'm moving party. And if you don't know that by now, I don't know what else you know. I support this president. I know clearly well that this president did not create the situation we are in. And I don't know how to mince words, and I cannot be in the PDP today and supporting the president of another party. It will be clearly in violation of party guidelines, and I don't know how to flip-flop. It's not in my life. So if I'm supporting the president, let me go to where I'll be able to say so and state the things he has done. I don't want to practice anti-party. I don't have the kind of strength that Nyesom Wike has, who will confront anybody. Me, I'm a very simple man by nature. So we want our commissioners, our members of ESCOs, appointees. I'm told some of you are admitting that you will not come. You are free, absolutely free. You are free not to join me, but you won't be in my state executive council. So you better just prepare to resign the day I announce that I'm moving.
All right, Governor Umo Eno here. I mean, apparently I heard that he was furious about the broadcast. The Channels reporter, Christopher Moffat, I believe that's his name, of Channels TV, they said he's been reporting from the Akwa Ibom government house for over 10 years. And now the report is that he's being barred because they were not happy about this broadcast that went out yesterday. We see Umo Eno here saying that he doesn't want to be like Wike. He just wants to defect. But why this whole, just come out with your full chest. Go ahead.
You know why?
Go ahead.
Because he's been playing two games. And this is, let me call him his full name, Pastor Umo Eno.
Yeah, Pastor, right.
Speaks volumes.
About that. Yeah.
At first, Section 22 of the Constitution states that the press, radio, television, and other agents of mass media shall be at all times
free to uphold fundamental objectives contained in this chapter and uphold the responsibility and accountability of government to the people. Governor Pastor Umo Eno violated the national constitution by stopping the press from doing his job by saying, go out, because they reported the story. And I told you he's been playing 2 games. As at September last year, when they were calling him out that your relationship with Mr. Akpabio is too close for comfort, he said, no, it will not affect the workers of the PDP. Not knowing that he had plans to be able to do this, the defects. So he should do it with his full chest. What he thought was going to be Chatham House rule. No. It's good that we are seeing them for what they are. Governor, happy hour. Yes, we appreciate your good work in the States. We know you have done some very good work.
Yeah,
but on
amazing
this,
work, actually.
On this, we totally disagree with you. And please, we will urge you to restore those media journalists, to ensure that they get back to their work and they continue with their reporting. And on top of it, for good measure, offer an apology. I think that's the sense of decency that we'd expect. Offer an apology to them. Or deny it and say you had no hand in it for barring them. You can't stop the media. This same media that propagates all your good works. You need the media.
This is it.
You must not be able to stop us. But all these politicians, they're all playing games.
Same thing.
As usual. Governor, you have done well. You have done a good job at some point. But on this political score, I totally disagree with you. And it's nothing personal. Just like we celebrated you, when you did well. And I still commiserate to you on the loss of your wife. Real quickly, let me move to Mr. Wike. Mr. Wike he has the temerity to say somebody betrayed him. Him, Mr. Wike, has the nerve, an unmitigated temerity to say somebody betrayed him. What did he do to Atiku Abubakar? What did he say after the PDP primaries? Anybody that wins will support them because he didn't go his way. He set up Jackson 5. You can see now they are fighting. Jackson 5, like Boala calls them. Sheyi Makinde, that was part of the Jackson 5 now. I'm sure probably Governor Sheyi said, what the heck? You can't continue this way.
Yes.
He said for peacetime, they should go and withdraw the state of emergency. So you didn't like the PDP governors taking you to court over state of emergency, but you used it. You can see how these people behave in the interest of peace.
Yes.
The Supreme Court made a decision. Go and fix your thing internally. You've been able to push Iron there. They are saying no. The PDP Southeast faction must not bring in the deal.
Yeah.
So you see how they be for body, but you they beat them. You they beat people. So when they flog you with that same kid, they pay you. It reminds me of Mabel the Fist Sheller, that famous advert for area. He go stain my body. So now you don't want court case. You wanted to remove the PDP court against state of emergency, but you did it to Fubara and you call him your son. So if he wants to say they've betrayed him, he should go ahead. But the truth also is, what has he also done to his party?
All right.
He's doing this to his party. I'm not going to agree. Has it not been a betrayal to his party? He's calling his party out in public. He's going against the presidential candidate, not allowing the presidential candidate even the chance to be able to campaign in the state of his party. It's not a betrayal to his party.
I mean, this is my question.
You see, those that can dish it, they don't know how to take it.
Yes, this is my issue. I mean, all of these anti-party activities going on with Nyesom Wike just really bothers me a lot because I really don't understand how other people from big parties are moving to the APC and he's working with the APC. But I wanted your thoughts, Vimbai, Dr. Martin, before I come to you, about Umo Eno, because our constituents, I want to just talk about this barring of journalists, your take on it before Dr. Martin.
We need to have a zero tolerance policy for gagging the media, especially in this kind of very overt and draconian way. You can't do this. If we didn't have this tape, we didn't have this video, it would have been so easy for them to say, oh, I never said that.
I never said that.
So this is why the fourth estate is extremely important, because we are there to document and see there's no fake news about this. It is what it is. You said it from your mouth. So maybe that's what frustrated him, is that, they now caught me with my mouth. But it doesn't work that way. This is, you can't infringe on the liberties of the media. Very, very quickly, Oji, Nyesom Wike and PDP. See, I think we also need to review some of the party structures, especially that we have here in Nigeria, because when you have a party that is heavily supported by the war chest of an individual, this is what happens.
Yes.
Is that the individual now has a personal stake. It's like their own birthright, their own company, because they've invested funds into that place.
That's what he's
and that's why he's and that's why he's stuck, because he's like, so the money I used to bail out PDP will just go just like that. So I think we also need to look at our party structures, because parties are supposed to be funded by membership fees from individual members.
Correct.
But how often does that really happen?
Well,
then very quickly, I know Dr. Abati said that no, age shouldn't matter. For me, what I took for Peter Obi, what I took away from it was the fact that, do you know that currently Atiku Abubakar holds the record of the opposition leader who has contested for the presidential election the highest number of times here in Africa? 6. If he goes again, that'll be number 7.
How old would he
He's
be?
only followed by, I'm not even looking at age, I'm looking at the number of attempts. If he goes again, the second in Africa will be Raila Odinga in Kenya. That one has gone 5 times. So that's the record he currently holds. And I guess Peter Obi is saying, that's not really the record I'm trying. Yes, we're African giants, but let's not hold the record constantly going for our presidential attempts.
Well said.
Dr. Example. You didn't cite Robert Mugabe.
He wasn't. He was incumbent. Who was re-elected. I'm talking of opposition. Opposition leader.
Anyway,
call him out.
Very old man.
Call him out.
Pastor Umo Eno.
Very quickly.
Yes.
I mean, I once managed a press corps of over 150 journalists. And it is not the duty of government, whether at the state level or at the federal level, to dictate to media houses who should be their correspondents in government house, particularly at the state level. And I think that in this particular regard, the management of Channels TV should stand by those 2 journalists that were expelled from the press center in government house of Akwa Ibom State, and insist that those are the journalists that they want in that place.
Yes.
I know that there are press center, those we call press center journalists, those who hang around the press center just to collect handouts and collect communiqua, as they call them, But this is not the case. Christopher Moffat has been reporting from that place for 10 years.
10 years, really?
So it deserves the support of the management of his company. Number 2 is that Mr. Umoeno, Pastor Umoeno, in the statements that he made, well, I like the fact that he was very honest, though. He was very honest in saying, this thing is about my second term. The way they are doing in Abuja now, if I don't go and join them, I will lose my Arise agenda, which I want to be committed to. But that I will also not allow anybody to take PDP from you in terms of the structures.
Yeah.
So it means that he just wants to join APC so that he can get a second term. In fact, he even said INEC can come up with technicalities if you are not one of them. So, he wants to be one of them so that he can just win election. The only thing he said that I thought was not okay is this point about people who do not follow me can leave my cabinet. Because that would be anti-party.
Yeah.
What he himself is doing is anti-party.
No, he's governor, so he cannot be. He has immunity.
It's not about immunity.
He was thinking this was never going to go out.
Secrets.
It's not that the law does not, sanction governors who defect. But in fact, I think Channels TV should promote those 2 people and commend them.
Correct.
Because if they did not report this thing, how will we know that even Pastor Umoeno is a chameleon? A chameleonic character who has also adopted the same amphibious character as the same Wike that he was referring to.
I mean, come on. Well said, Dr. Martin.
Praise the Lord.
Hallelujah.
Praise the Lord. Give Jesus a wiper.
Rufai, really? Well, come on. Well, all right, in another development, let me take a breath. Okay. In another development, social media is awash with reactions after billionaire businessman and CEO of Atlas Oranto Petroleum, Arthur Eze, described President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as God's gift to Nigeria. Well, according to Bayo Ononuga, the special advisor to the president on information and strategy, Arthur Eze praised Tinubu in an upcoming State House documentary commemorating the president's 2nd anniversary in office. In the documentary, Arthur Eze highlighted Tinubu's dedication to inclusivity and development, particularly in the Southeast, where he has facilitated significant ministerial appointments and the establishment of the Southeast Development Commission. Eze also expressed confidence in Tinubu's renewed hope agenda, emphasizing his wisdom and determination in guiding Nigeria through economic and political challenges. He also urged Nigerians to support the president in fostering stability, growth, and future prosperity. Let's take some reactions really quickly. This is from Dorothy, who wrote, as far as author Eze is concerned, every government in Nigeria from time immemorial is God sent. Taking his statement as worthy of being published by Ononuga shows that the presidency cannot identify objective, what is this word? Assessors, but are looking for professional praise singer or the assessors. Absolutely. Then another Twitter user wrote, he said the same during Obasanjo, Yar'Adua, JEJ, Buhari, now Tinubu. So it's just his traditional way of securing his business interests. The rich don't do tribalism. It's the poor and unfortunate ones that play tribal card. All these wealthy men in Nigeria don't care about Nigeria. I guess that's what you are laughing too much. But we saw this story, and it is true because we've seen that authorities have supported past presidents. But I mean, there was something he said in his, I mean, if that's what he said in the video about, you know, the ministerial appointments from the Southeast. Over the weekend, we were discussing on the table on the morning show and trying to count how many ministers are in the president's cabinet from the Southeast. And apparently there are only 2 from the federal, which is Devu Mahi, I believe, and of course, Uche Naji, who is the Minister of Innovation and Technology.
You didn't call Bianca.
Uche, that is Minister of State. Okay. Then we have Minister of State, Bianca, we have Doris Anete, of course, we also have Nkiru Onyejocha. But, you know, it's really just, I mean, that was the conversation that we're having, that is the Southeast really represented in the president's cabinet? But also he made the mention about the Southeast Development Fund, which, you know, we all applaud President Bola Ahmed Tinubu of doing. I really liked that comment from author Eze. Our wife, please, a quick comment on this so we can take our good news report. I know.
You know, I think one of the great qualities of people who are successful in business consistently is that they're able to manage the politics of the day, whatever that politics is. So, you know, what do you take from a man who needs to protect his interests? I think the Southeast Development Commission is a good development. I've seen some of the plans that Mark Okoye has laid out. He's also a very young man and a very astute, knowledgeable young man. So I think that is going in a positive direction. Apart from that, well, I mean, we saw a flurry of prominent people going to pay homage to the president over the past few days. Even Cubana chief priest was there as well. Ubi Franklin was there as well. So, you know, it's season to pay homage and to, you know, to play your politics. What can we call it? It's important to if you need a favor, you go and
it's 2 days to, is it 2 days? 3 days.
2 days
before
until
2 days.
This Tinubu mania is going. One of these days, write it down.
Right.
One pastor will come tomorrow and say he has discovered Tinubu's name in the Bible. And this is the prophecy of God. This is Nigeria. Praise the Lord. You just wait.
I know now. When they say praise the Lord, we all say what? Hallelujah. Tinubu's name in the Bible
has already said that Tinubu is the most admirable leader. So the pastor has already said
he said it's going to be in the Bible.
Oh, okay.
Well, all right. They will read it and say, go to this chapter.
Well, all right. It's now called what?
Warrior.
All right. 2 days
That's why it's
to go.
called the Jagaban.
2 days. The Jagaban. 2 days to come. Tinubu mania. Well, I can't wait to watch that documentary. Well, all right. Before we take our good news report, I'd like to highlight our picture of the day, which features the Director General of the World Trade Organization, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, wearing trousers without her signature headscarf. The photos were shared on her X account, showing her wearing the casual outfit at the Brussels Airport Lounge while meeting the NATO Secretary General, Mark Rutte. The images sparked mixed reactions on social media, with some praising her modern look and others questioning the change in her style. I mean, this was so beautiful to see. We don't see her usually in this, way. And I thought it was so great to make it our picture of the day. Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala continues to inspire us, really. I love it. Beautiful picture of the day. All right. Now let's begin our good news report. In a remarkable show of support, the Department of State Services last week fulfilled its commitment to provide free medical care to a Sokoto-based businessman who was accidentally shot by DSS operatives during a 2016 raid in Jos, the Plateau State capital. The businessman, Umar, who incidentally bears the same name as a suspected gun runner, was mistakenly shot and injured during a pre-dawn operation while the DSS was trying to arrest the suspect. Well, 2 years after the incident, in 2018, a federal high court in Bauchi awarded the businessman 10 million naira in damages. DSS Director General Tosin Ajayi, who assumed office in August 2024, authorized the 10 million naira payment in March and an additional 10 million naira to compensate for time lost, bringing the total compensation to 20 million naira. As part of the redress measures, the DSS DG also directed the businessman to be permanently integrated into the DSS medical system to enjoy unrestricted access to free healthcare services. I mean, this is so amazing. He really did well, the DSS DG. I believe this is the third DG since the unfortunate case of mistaken identity occurred between, the man and the DSS operative. I mean, at that time, I believe they did arrest the suspect, but, it was a mistaken identity. And it just goes to show that, security agencies, can be law-abiding, but they can also show a milk of human kindness. I'd love to congratulate the DSS DG, Tosin Ajayi, because without his intervention, God knows where this man would have been now. Dr. Bate, a quick comment.
Well, it's commendable. Yes. The received opinion is that Nigerian government agencies do not respect the rule of law.
Yes.
Whether it's Nigerian courts or it's ECOWAS. And you have now, this case has been on the table since 2018. You now have a Director General of the Department of State Services who says this is what the court has ruled and that we have an obligation to obey the court.
Yes.
The DSS is a department that enforces the law, that protects the state. And now he's saying we are not above the law.
Yes.
This department is not above the law. That in itself is commendable. And then in addition to paying the 10 million naira, the DGDSS also said, okay, for lost time, for the pains you have gone through, we give you another 10 million, making 20 million. And then the man has been given VIP treatment to say, look, you have access to unrestricted health care on account of the Department of State Services. My recommendation is that other government agencies should learn from the example of the DSS.
Yes.
Mr. Tosin Ajayi is rebranding the DSS in this regard. He's giving it a new image. Maybe the police should learn from this example.
Absolutely. Yes.
All these trigger-happy policemen.
Even the EFCC also should learn from this example.
All government agencies
when they
should learn from
money,
this example.
They should quickly disburse the money
recovered.
And those government departments that don't pay electricity bills, they should learn from this example.
They should learn from it. Well, all right.
That they are not above the rule of law.
Well, all right. I love this good news report. Congratulations, really, to him. I'd love to thank you. Absolutely. Accountability is always a beautiful thing to see. I'd like to thank you all for your great analysis, as always, on what's trending. Well, again, kudos to DSS DG, Tosin Ajayi. Well, that's all I have for you guys on what's trending today. I'll see you all tomorrow.
And that's all on today's edition of The Morning Show. Rotu Sodiri is up next with Global Business Report.